I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Planning Board of the City of Summit, Monday, February 9, 2026, at 7:38 p.m. I would ask if everyone who can, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll read the adequate notice statement. In accordance with New Jersey Statute 10:4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the newspapers of record and has been posted here in City Hall. For the benefit of the interested public, this meeting is being live streamed to the city's YouTube page and also broadcast on Summit's government channel, which is Comcast Channel 34 and Verizon Channel 30. Any hearings on applications, and there will be one this evening, for development in this meeting are quasi-judicial proceedings. Any questions or comments must be limited to the issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Please note that fire exits are to my right, your left, and at the back of the room where you entered. The city has a listening system to assist the hearing impaired. If anyone needs hearing assistance, please obtain the necessary equipment here at the dais and return it immediately, please, after our meeting. Now it's my privilege to give the oath of office to our new and returning board members. Class 2 board member Augusto Del Maso, Class 4 board member Ryan Felmet, Class 4 board member Delia Hamlet, Class 4 alternate 1 John Staunton, Class 1 mayor's designee Bonnie Morrison, Class 3 Councilman Dan Crisafulli, and alternate 2 board member Benjamin Golden. If you'll all please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear
and that I will bear
true faith and allegiance to same
true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state
and the governments established in the United States and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
And I do solemnly swear
And I do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all of the duties
perform all of the duties
of planning board member
of planning board member
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, welcome and welcome back. And now that we have everyone having taken their oath, if we could have a roll call, Jessica, please.
Ms. Balson Alvarez is excused. Ms. Bowen? Here. Councilmember Crisafulli?
Here.
Mr. Dalmaso?
Here.
Mr. Felmet?
Here.
Mr. Golden?
Here.
Ms. Hamlet?
Here.
Ms. Morrison?
Here.
Mr. Sala?
Here.
Mr. Staunton is excused. Mr. Stern?
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you. It's now my honor to call for nominations for chair for the Planning Board for the City of Summit for the calendar year 2026.
I'd like to nominate Miss Jennifer Balson Alvarez.
We have a nomination. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm going to ask Jessica to figure out who got there first. Any further nominations? Seeing and hearing none, why don't we have a roll call vote nonetheless, even though I anticipate how it's going to go.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. This is for vice chair?
No, this is for chair.
This is for chair?
Chair. It's my understanding, just for the record, that she is ready, willing, and able to accept, notwithstanding her absence, the election as chair, should she win the vote. So we await the roll call.
And I'm sorry, who was second? Mr. Stern? Okay. Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
I'm sorry, is everybody valid to vote?
Yes, everybody here, we have 7 regular members and who are here this evening. We have 2 regular members who are out. So our alternate members are sitting as regular members in their absence. They are absent, so the alternate members sit in in those regular members' absences. There are no vacancies on the board, as we have all 11 spots filled. So that's the long answer. That's the attorney's answer. The short answer is yes, everyone can vote.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Bowen, I got you. Councilmember
Yes.
Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Mr. Felmet?
Yes.
Ms. Hamlet? Oh.
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, we have a new chair. This is normally where I would hand the gavel to our new chair, but our new chair is absent this evening. So given that, I will now call for nominations for vice chair.
I think Bonnie has a question.
No, I'd like to nominate
Okay.
Delia Hamlet.
Okay, we have a nomination. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. Do we have any further nominations for vice chair? Seeing and hearing none. Nevertheless, as we did with the last, if we can have a roll call vote, please. Again, all members are qualified to vote.
Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Mr. Felmet?
Yes.
Ms. Hamlet? Oh, right. Sure. Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now I have the pleasure of handing the gavel over to our Chair Pro Tem, our Vice Chair, Delia Hamlet. Oh, sure. Wait, just, you got it? Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting, today, February 9th. Was really honored to nominate Jennifer to be the chair, and once she comes back from vacation, I know she'll be very excited to lead the Planning Board through what could be an interesting year with the Housing Element Fair Share Plan. Jennifer has a ton of experience. I think she's been on the Planning Board since 2012, although I don't think she's ever been chair. But she does great work for the community, so we're excited to have her, and thank you for all of your support for nominating me as vice chair. Didn't think I would be doing this today.
And I believe our next item is the resolution to appoint a board secretary.
Do you have the resolution?
And I have those, the resolutions here. Bear with me. I'm sorry, yeah, you could just do motion second. And
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to authorize
it's different, it's not that one. I'm sorry, do you have the board secretary one, Jessica? Is it in there?
It should be in there.
Not in order?
It's okay, we can just knock them all out. Okay,
There we
I got it,
go,
okay,
right
sorry.
there. There we go.
Okay, sorry. All right, this is a resolution of appointment of planning board secretary. Whereas the City of Summit Planning Board must appoint a board secretary at the annual reorganization meeting. This term is from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026, whereas Jessica Sands has previously been appointed and has served as a planning board secretary. I would like to make a motion to move this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
And with resolutions, we have a roll call vote for each, so it's a good thing we just appointed formally for the year Jessica, because she's going to be doing a lot of roll calls. So,
Roll call vote, please, Jessica.
Thank you. Vice Chair Hamlet?
Yes.
Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Mr. Felmet?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Thank you.
The next resolution is authorizing 2026 Planning Board Attorney Services with the firm Savo, Schultz, Corsini, Warner, Gillespie, O'Gronick, and Fisher, not to exceed $50,000. I'd like to make a motion to move this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
And Jessica will take another roll call vote.
Vice Chair Hamlet?
Yes.
Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Mr. Felmet?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Thank you all for your continued confidence and the privilege of continuing to represent the board. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. Thank you for all your leadership up here on the board as well. The next resolution is authorizing 2026 Planning Board Services to Colliers Engineering. They have submitted a proposal in response to a public bid request for qualifications, which said costs estimated by the board not to exceed $100,000. I'd like to move this resolution.
And just for clarification, that's for engineer, correct?
Yes, sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
Engineering services for the planning board. I'd like to make a motion, and do we have a second?
Second.
And Jessica will take a roll call vote on that one as well.
Vice Chair Hamlet?
Yes.
Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Mr. Felmet? Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Marie. It's been a real honor to have your consistency here at the meetings. It's very supportive for the staff, and I think even for the public to have a consistent face in your seat, and thank you. Okay, up next, last resolution is authorizing Planning Board Planner Services to Burgess and Associates not to exceed $100,000. The anticipated term, again, January 1st through January 31st. Burgess Associates has submitted a proposal in response to a public bid request not to exceed $100,000. I'd like to move this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Vice
And
Chair Hamlet?
Jessica will take a roll call vote on that one.
Vice Chair Hamlet?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Mr. Felmet? Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
I'd also like to thank you for, I think this is my 10th or 12th year here.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for your leadership. We spend more time with your firm probably than most, and it's your knowledge is just amazing, so thank you.
Thank you.
I think we can do this amendment.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that last. Okay.
This one, okay.
That's a
Okay.
new one.
Next is an amendment. This resolution is an amendment for the 2025 Attorney Services for the Planning Board, which is an additional $12,500. And the land use manager advises that due to significant litigation response, that this increase would be $12,500. I would like to move this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
And this is for 2025. Just to put that on the record there.
Vice Chair Hamlet?
Yes.
Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Mr. Felmet?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
I'm just going to take a poll from my fellow planning board members up here. Did everybody get a chance to review the bylaws, or would it be more appropriate to?
I didn't get
Yeah.
a copy.
If it's okay, Mr. Warner, I think if we can move that to the
Carry?
next meeting, I think we'll
That's fine.
carry that to the next meeting. So one of the homework assignments will be just to review those, and any input, anything that doesn't make sense, if you could do that, that'd be great. Okay, and we are also going to carry the committee liaison appointments. I would say if there's a committee that you would like to be involved in, please send Jennifer or myself that feedback, and we will work on that at the next meeting. And I think next, Mr. Warner's adopting the official newspapers and the city website.
That's correct,
that
on
one?
the resolution, yeah. If I may, Madam Chair, just for the benefit of the, as the board members know, and the benefit of the public, there was a statutory change to public entity notice last year that goes into primary effect, I'll say, the major change, March 1, 2026, whereby public entities, including this board, which is a subsidiary agency of the City of Summit, will be posting notices for the Open Public Meetings Act on the website. Given the circumstances surrounding newspapers of late, so that the board will be consistent with that statutory change. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Very good. So this is resolution, what's the actual
get a
number on
number?
that one? Do you have the number?
Do we have a number for that one yet?
You can give it number 1.
Resolution 20026, number 1? Okay. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act requires that certain notices of meetings be submitted to 2 newspapers, one of which shall be the official newspaper. And the law further requires that a second newspaper be designated by the City of the Summit Planning Board to provide the greatest likelihood of informing the public within the jurisdictional boundaries of this body of meetings of the City of Summit Planning Board. I would like to move this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Do we need a roll call on this one?
Roll call, please, for
And
all
we'll-
resolutions.
Okay, we'll do a roll call on this one.
That's the board attorney's rule.
Okay.
Vice Chair Hamlet,
Yes.
Ms. Bowen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli,
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso,
Yes.
Mr. Felmet,
Yes.
Ms. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr. Sala,
Yes.
Mr. Stern,
Yes.
Mr. Golden.
Yes.
Okay.
We can move to the,
Okay, now at this time, we would like to move to the public hearing. And if I can find my agenda.
I believe we have applicants' counsel. Madam Chair, with your permission, let me at least let you announce the public hearing item.
Sure. So this is the Linden Place RTR LLC, a New Jersey limited liability company, and Stephen J. Giannis for 268 and 270 Ashland Road. This is Block 5303, Lot 2. Planning Board Application 25-281, which is a minor subdivision application with C variances for lot area and rear yard setback to create lots 2.01 and 2.02. This meeting was originally rescheduled from, was it 126?
I think it was 126, yes.
For some reason. that
January
didn't
26th.
look- I guess it was.
It was a stormy
Yeah.
evening, if I recall.
And it was carried one other time, Paul? Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Let the record reflect that one of our board members, Board Member Morrison, will be recusing herself, and if staying in the room seated to the back, will not be participating. Also, for the record, if I may, Madam Chair, I neglected to mention, it's my understanding that Board Member Golden, seated at the end of the dais, he is not recused, or just because he is not disqualified, but he will not be voting on the matter this evening, as he has just been appointed and hasn't had an opportunity to fully prepare for same. It's my understanding the balance of the board members on the dais, almost a full complement, 7, will be hearing the matter, more than a sufficient quorum to hear the matter. And if I'm not overextending my welcome, I'll continue, Madam Chair, just to let the record reflect that I did have an opportunity to review the notice, found the content to be sufficient, found it to be timely served and published in the newspaper, official newspapers, and that the matter was carried from January 26th to this special meeting. This special meeting was properly noticed pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act in 2 official newspapers, and in that notice for this meeting, it specifically identified in full, as it appears on the agenda, the public hearing for this minor subdivision. So all the Ts were crossed and the Is dotted, as they say, with respect to notice for purposes of this hearing. So it's my legal opinion the board continues to have jurisdiction, as it did previously, to hear and decide the matter. And I'll
Thank
turn
you,
it back
Mr.
to
Ware.
the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Ware. Okay, so I think we can begin the public hearing.
Thank you. James Weber of Alfonso and Weber on behalf of the applicants. That's Stephen Giannis, and through his LLC, the Linden Place LLC as well. This is an application for a minor subdivision approval, and it relates to the home office of Dr. Giannis, who's passed, and as a result, this property is now in the estate of the Giannis's. His son, Stephen Giannis, is here, and his grandson, right, John Giannis, is here as well. So what had happened in 1956, the Barca Company had developed the property. It was at that time in the A10 zone. And if I can have a mark of the 1955 map as A1, and if the board is interested in the April 1955 ordinance, we can have that marked as A2.
And I'm sorry, did you say the map was 55 as well?
Yes.
Okay. Just for the record, if I may, Madam Chair, the two things. One, Counselor, you'll decide what evidence you wish to present and exhibits you wish to introduce to the board. The board won't make that decision, of course, so should you wish to do so, please introduce it. Will there be one testifying to these exhibits, or would it be based upon your representation as to the facts associated with them?
It would be based on my representation, and I think the board can take judicial notice of its prior ordinances.
Okay. And will you be introducing both? A1, the 1955 map, and A2, the 55 ordinance?
We can do those combined as A1.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Two document compendium.
And under this marked A1, you're looking at the 1955 transposed ordinance. And what that allowed was that, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, if I can sit
Of course,
rather than
yep.
going up,
No problem.
that the properties were located in the A10 zone district. So they were designed at a level where 10,000 square feet was the permitted amount. Subsequent to that, if you excuse me, the applications were then, I'm waiting for the title to come up. And so we had a search done with regard to the property. And within that search, if you'll excuse me, let me open this. You have the current tax maps, and that shows lots on the right-hand side, 1, 2, 3, and then there's 4 and 5. Lot 2 is the property that's the subject of the minor subdivision. That search also revealed the 1956 filed map, number 453A, and that's the property that we're talking about, where in the 1956 map, the properties were designated as lots 4 and 5, consistent with the A10 zone.
And just the title, if I may, Madam Chair, the title report, is that a separate exhibit you wish to introduce in whole or in part?
We can introduce it in whole, and if we could do that A2.
And if you already said it, my apologies, but which pages of the report were you just referencing?
That would be pages 6 and 7.
Pages 6 and 7?
I have paper copies if that's of
That'd
any.
be great.
Okay.
My computer.
And just so, paper copies of A1 in its entirety and A2 in its entirety,
We
or?
have those as well for Ms. Sands.
Oh.
But for now, we have those on the screen unless board members wish paper copies. But we would just present those to Ms. Sands for preservation in the record.
Defer to the board.
That's fine, unless anybody needs this copy.
And it's my understanding from John Barry, who's the professional planner on behalf of the applicant, that in the master plan says, let's not consolidate properties. So we have here where there's actually a turn back to the original design that's existed. With regard to the variances associated with the property, under the lot averaging, you include not only the properties immediately adjacent, but you include the properties across the street. As a result, the lot area is 15,948. This is a 22,077 square foot lot, so it's 50% larger than that established in the R15 zone where the property is currently located. The lots along Ashland average around 10,500 square feet. So for those lots that were created in 1956, these two properties that are proposed would be consistent with what was originally designed.
And if I may, Madam Chair, just for clarification, I understand the representations that were made with respect to the title report and the map and the ordinance. This further testimony, I take it we're going to be hearing from Mr. Barry, the planner. This is by way of proffer by you as counsel, not evidence, correct?
That's correct. Everything that I say is by way of a proffer to introduce the evidence that will be presented to the board. I would take the point, though, that the ordinance map, 453, which is a filed map, are all subject to judicial notice, and as a result are, I would submit, now entered into evidence. Front yard setback, there's an average front yard setback, again, based on properties across the street, where we're required to have, I think, 38 feet, where 35 feet is the standard in the R15. When you calculate the setback for those properties that were part of the 1956, which the average is around 31 feet from the lot line. There's also an additional 10 feet till you get to the curb of Ashland. There's no other variances associated with this. We have had an opportunity for the applicants to speak with the 4 adjacent property owners, the 4 neighbors who were immediately abutting, and they've been able to reach a statement of agreement, and they've been able to reach a list of proposed conditions. By proposed conditions, what I'm talking about is that the board retains its jurisdiction, and it's not subject to what neighbors and applicants agree to. However, the neighbors and the applicants did prepare a list of proposed conditions that have been executed and agreed to by the 4 immediately adjoining neighbors and the applicants. So that is being submitted to the board. I believe that it would have been distributed. We didn't get the final signatures till last week. So as a result, they came into Summit, I believe it was Thursday. But as soon as we had the final signatures of everyone before traveling, even though there was a handshake, we had to get that final signature.
Forthcoming, yes. And Counselor, I have a stack here that was provided, of copies provided to me by Ms. Sands, and the cover's dated, or the letter agreement, I guess, is dated January 22nd, 2026?
Well, that would have been the list, but the finalizing all the signatures took longer.
Right, no, I understand that. I'm just, before I distribute it to the board, do you wish to have it marked as an exhibit? Are you making representations with respect to it? And I'm just clarifying that what I have is what you're referring to.
Yes, that would have a date at the top January 22nd, 2026. And yes, we would submit this as an evidence for the board.
And it has attached to it, after the signatures, the November 21st, 2025 engineer's report from Ms. Raffay, correct?
That's correct.
It's part of it, okay, and I'll
If I could just ask,
bunch out
take a
this
couple
way
minutes
and-
just for the
Yes.
members of the board to review this.
just, I guess you,
And these conditions, of
Here's
course, are submitted
Okay.
if the board approves the application. So this would be a litany of those conditions that we believe the board will find acceptable.
and are you marking these as A3? I think that's what we're up to.
I'm following your guidance on the numeration at this point.
You know.
Can I just ask a question, Mr. Weber? Can we just identify which of the neighbors this is? It looks like it's 5303, Lot 3. 8 Rotary, 5303. If you just want to go through that so that members of the public, is that be appropriate, Mr. Warner?
Sure, absolutely. I think you mentioned the adjacent neighbors. It looks like it's 1, 3, 34, and 35. It does not appear to include 33, lot 33, going from the tax map, key map. But that, if I'm reading it correctly.
So it seems as though it would be the two next to or adjacent and the two behind.
Correct. It does not include, I believe, Lot 33, which is number 20 Rotary Drive. Correct.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
You know, actually, if I can get an, and I leave it to the board members, but if I can get a copy of Exhibits A1 and A2 now, that would be helpful.
Thank you.
That should be A2. That's at 453.
This is, okay, so this is A1 and this is A2.
That's A1.
Yeah, yeah, and this is obviously a portion of it because you put the whole title report in. Just for the record, I'm getting a copy of Exhibit A1, the map and the ordinance, as it was introduced, and I'm getting one page of the title report, A2, that was introduced. It's the map page?
Map 453A, the filed map.
Filed map, 453. And that's
There
A2.
is an enlargement of the 1955 map, just to confirm the A10 zone district.
Thank you.
No, actually, the conditions, is there an extra copy of the conditions
Oh.
there that we could go through?
Sure.
I have an extra.
Here, Joe.
You got, boy, Joe, everybody in the,
Great.
everybody in the building was gonna give you an extra. Okay.
About this. Can I ask?
It's
Wanna
chair
ask it now?
to the,
Mr. Weber, are you okay if they ask a couple questions about the,
Of course.
go ahead.
Only procedural.
Sure.
So this is an agreement between the neighbors and the applicant that will live with whatever happens with our potential approval or not, like, is that, or will it be just binding between the two parties, or? And a
well,
lot
I'll-
of it references things that are already in the plan that are part of our, you know, things that they submitted that we would be reviewing anyways. So it's a mismatch to me of things that they want to see from a neighbor standpoint and just holding them to what's in the plan. So how do we, as board members, how do we digest all that?
Perhaps I can ask a few questions of the applicant's counsel who submitted that document and sought to have it introduced to help clarify what the applicant's intention is for the board to have that evidence before it. So, and maybe I'll try to expedite it with what I suspect is the case. Mr. Weber, is it the applicant's intention in submitting this that you understand you have an agreement with 4 of the neighbors and that they are requesting that the board, if it approves the application, at least have those conditions as part of any approval?
That's correct.
And is there a separate settlement agreement with those 4 neighbors?
There is. It's a little bit more detailed. We had trimmed down the points that the neighbors found most important, and I certainly can have that introduced as well.
Again, your choice, what you seek to have introduced on behalf of your client, the applicant. And from a legal standpoint, the board decides. This is an exhibit that was introduced by the applicant as part of their case to meet their burden of proof for the relief sought, 2 lot areas and 2 front yard setbacks along with the minor subdivision. To the extent it's relevant and perhaps even material to you, you give it the weight you give it in the context of your decision. Ultimately, the board will decide yay or nay to grant the relief or not. And ultimately, if the board grants the relief, certainly we always have conditions mitigating any detriments associated with the variance relief sought. These may be all of them, some of them. We will find out. Does that help you and the other board members understand the important context of why the applicant is giving you this evidence and this information?
It does.
Okay. Do you have any?
Repetitive in nature to, I think, the application itself, but I guess they're looking for that further.
Well, and if I could say to Mr. Weber, I think it's, I acknowledge that you were able to work with some of the neighbors, so I think it's helpful for us as a board to at least resolve some of those concerns from the neighbors, so.
And certainly, we will hear, perhaps, from any number of members of the public as to what their position is vis-a-vis the application, whether some of them are also those neighbors or not, we'll find out. And of course, all members of the public have an opportunity, just like the board does, and perhaps the board professionals as well, to ask questions of each witness. We haven't yet gotten to a witness per se. We're still getting proffers from counsel.
Well, Mr. Weber, you can proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One more exhibit?
If you would like to submit it.
Thank you. This is the statement of agreement that was reached with the neighbors, and it consists of 9 pages. And on page 4 of 9 is the representation by those neighbors that they have this, that they support the application, and we're able to make that representation. So if I can present this?
Please do.
You certainly can have it introduced, and I would just say for cautionary purposes that the document is, I guess, what is represented to be. Is this just one copy for all? Because we're going to need one for the record.
I have several more copies. I wasn't actually planning on introducing the entire exhibit, but...
Well, before you do, then, what do you want to introduce?
We can introduce it.
Okay, because it's going to get an A4 designation.
Very good.
And we'll need copies.
And the point that I would suggest with it is, again, in page 4 of 9. May I?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Is the representation for the support.
And again, well, I was about to say my caution to the board, and for clarification purposes, is that this is not the same as hearing from someone who is under oath and is subject to questioning which is an important fundamental principle for due process and the Confrontation Clause in the New Jersey State and United States Constitution. But it is by proffer represented to be an agreement that they signed. And again, we may or may not hear from some or all of them.
Thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Weber.
Thank you. I would ask that John Giannis and Steve Giannis be called in to be sworn in this matter. We have other experts will be Andrew Clark, the civil engineer, Ed Clark, our landscape architect, and Heike Sheehan, the architect.
And Mr. Barry as well, planner, or no?
Oh, and Mr. Barry, thank you.
That's okay. I heard his name earlier. So you're going to have fact witnesses first, you said?
Yes.
Is there a reason why we're having two gentlemen come at once?
John Giannis is the grandson and son of Stephen Giannis, who's the owner of the property. John Giannis is the one who spoke with the neighbors, engaged in those discussions, went back and forth. So he's been helping his father in connection with this entire matter and has individual knowledge.
Okay, well, they can both be sworn, they can both testify as fact witnesses. I'll leave it to you how to present it, but to the extent it could be sequential, one then the other, that might be helpful.
Then let's call Steve Giannis. It would be helpful to have John there as well. Steve has been relying on his son throughout this process.
As long as they're both under oath, it's not improper.
Okay, well, let's move forward then.
We'll need to know which is which, and your address, please, and then I'll swear you both in.
I'm Steve Janis, 61 Linden Place.
I'm John Janis, 268, 270 Ashland Road.
Okay.
Mr.
Before you do, I'm going to swear you in, but I'm also going to swear in our board professionals, as I always do for every hearing, our planner and engineer. So if all four of you will raise your right hand, do all four of you swear to God or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you all. With the chair's permission, please proceed.
Do you mind if I call you by your first names? That's all right, Madam Chair?
Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
fine.
Steve, do you own the property located at 268, 270 Ashland, and you own it individually and also through your LLC?
Yes,
And you've brought an application before this board with regard to the minor subdivision of that property.
yes,
And I've referenced that you're the son of Dr. John Giannis, and he had his medical office here since around 1960.
1960 or 61, yes.
Yeah, and he was a noted physician here in the city of Summit all during that period of time. When did he pass?
2017,
And in terms of the operation of the medical office with the home at 268, 270, that also has passed as a professional office. There's no one using it for the professional office
It has
now?
not been used since the early 1990s.
And you understand that if the board approves the application, that you're going to forego that pre-existing non-conforming use.
Yes,
And you're proposing to the board that you have two single-family homes built there?
yes.
And have you had a chance, John, to speak with the neighbors that have been the signatories to the file list and to the statement of agreement?
Yes, I have.
And are any of them here now?
Yes, there are 3.
So. And in terms of the staff report comments, have you had an opportunity to review those staff report comments as presented by Burgess Associates and Colliers?
Yes.
And subject to the testimony of your experts, do you agree to be bound by those recommendations?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Thank you, Mr. Weber.
No, wait.
At this time, I'd like to see if the board members have any questions for
Did you say it hadn't been a doctor's office since the early 1900s? Wasn't it only built in
1990s.
1990s?
So,
Go ahead, Mr. Ch.
couple of questions. So what do you plan on doing with the 2 residential homes if it gets approved? You gonna live in it
Building 2 houses.
and,
Potentially would, my fiance and I would like to live in one of the houses potentially.
okay. And so obviously you have this agreement with the neighbors. What were the neighbors' main concerns over the project, and how did you work with them? And there's a lot in here, some of which is from the reports, just so the board can get clarity on exactly what their concerns were and how you're mitigating.
Stormwater was a major concern. That was resolved. We did a thorough review of the existing pipe, and also as our engineer is going to show, that we're going to enhance the site well beyond what it currently is. And the second was landscaping, making sure that we're screening. Each neighbor actually had their own, I'm going to say, guidelines of what they wanted. So that reflects in the updated landscaping plan. Some wanted more trees, some wanted bushes, some didn't want trees, and that's where I'm going to the planner's questions. The updated application is what we agreed to with the neighbors from that standpoint.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Are there any neighbors that are dissenting from the agreement?
We haven't spoken to anyone that has. That,
Okay.
I believe, I don't want to speak to the neighbors, but I guess there was communication that went around, and anyone that had questions or comments or wanted to see some sort of adjustment, they've come forward, and we had a meeting that we sat down. We walked the property, and everyone came to an understanding, and it took a month to probably paper the transaction.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Mr.
You
Funk.
might have answered it earlier, but there's, I think, to the right of the house, there's a backyard that backs up to it, and there's some tree line there. Is that one of the neighbors that's part of this?
For what
To the
lot?
right of the property, there's a corner house.
On the corner
Yeah.
of Rotary?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's one of the neighbors.
that's one of the neighbors. He's also here this evening. He
Okay.
wanted to discuss what he was looking for in terms of enhancement.
Okay,
There's also dead trees on the property, so removing them was of interest as well
okay,
to the neighbors.
great.
Any other questions from the board? Joe or Marie, do you have any questions for?
I have no questions for this witness.
And nothing for these witnesses.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, if I may, I just have one or two, if I may. If I understand correctly, and as I think I clarified with your attorney, if you look at the map, lots 1, 3, 34, and 35 are parties to the agreement. But lot 33, if I'm reading it correctly, does abut the subject lot, and it's not a party to the agreement. Did you seek to communicate with the owners of lot 33?
Mr. Warner, I went to every house multiple times that's in the circle. I had a conversation with many of them, and there was no further action or questions from anyone else. The 4 neighbors that had comments, concerns, issues came forward, and we received notice from their attorney. Jim, our attorney, has advised us our rights, their rights, and we went through that and came to an agreement of how to amend the site plan to make sure that the neighbors that had any concerns, it was remedied.
Those 4 neighbors who expressed
Correct.
concerns? Okay.
When
And-
you say you went and spoke to the neighbors within the circle, you didn't go across Ashland Road, did you?
I did, yes, to every, all the houses that received notice of the application.
Okay. And I can ask your counselor too, because we just got it here. Are those 4 property owners, or groups of property owners, are those the same individuals who signed the statement of agreement that you also submitted as an exhibit?
Yes.
And no other individuals?
And no other individuals signed that statement of agreement, just the ones at Lot 1, 35, 34, and 3.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that everybody sort of refocuses on the statutory criteria for which we're here. And although there may be, public opposition for the way something looks, or, our job here tonight is to identify the positive and negative criteria and really determine, whether or not this subdivision. So I just want to refocus the board on what our requirement is here tonight.
As set forth in Mr. Burgess's memo, as always, the criteria. Okay. Just wanted to get that clarification for those exhibits and why we had some people but not all people. So that's all I had with respect to the fact testimony.
At this time, any members of the public have questions for, yes, sir, if you could come up, please, and state your name and your address.
And that would be, Madam Chair, for either of the two or both
I want to
witnesses,
ask you a question.
right?
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
My name is Ayman Male. I live on 271 Ashland Road, just across the site. And I have a question.
Know your
to the-
lot number by any chance, or maybe we could just confirm
Excuse
that,
me?
just so everybody on the board knows where you are in relation to the property. You said you're across the street?
Yes, 271 Ashland Road. That is exactly across the street.
It would be,
Lot.
appears to be Lot 8, 5204, Lot 8.
Got it, okay.
So,
Please proceed with your questions to one or both Mr. Johnson.
in fact, my question is for the attorney, because his statement about the restoring the 1956 zoning status, that's what I am concerned about. And my question is, at that time, in the 1950, the health and safety ordinances, zoning, all of those are completely different and very, very soft. They're not as stringent as Summit today. I would like to
Let
know
him speak.
if this is not a substandard, going back to a rezoning it to the R10. That's my question. Thank you so much.
So that,
Thank you.
wait, you want an answer to the
No.
question, right? You don't want an answer to the
No,
question?
just,
Okay. 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 And by the way, if you wish to make any points later under oath during the public comment period that would have the weight of evidence, including something you might have been implying just now, you can do that. This was just for questions
Yeah,
of the witness.
that was a question.
Right, but you don't want him to answer the question. Okay.
No, I'll do that when I can do my comments. Unless I can do comments, right?
Yeah,
If I may, Mr. Weber, it sounded as though the question was, will this be reverting back to the zoning standards, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Malay, from the 1956 zoning ordinance? Is that how I,
We have a professional planner, John Barry.
Great.
Who will testify
okay,
as to that.
that's fair. Joe, would you like to opine?
No,
If you could just speak a little into the microphone, Joe, please, thank you.
This does not represent a rezoning. The applicant is seeking, has been indicated, a reduction in the requirement from the lot area standards in the ordinance, but that does not represent a rezoning.
and front yard setback as well.
And the front yard setback, correct.
Are there any other questions from the public for these witnesses? Hearing none. Next on the list, Mr. Warner, is,
I would
Who's
ask
your
that
next
Andrew
witness?
Clark be called
Okay.
to the stand to give testimony in this matter.
evening, Mr. Clark.
Please raise your right hand when you're ready. You swear to God or affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Name and address, business address is fine for the record.
Name is Andrew Clark, C-L-A-R-K-E. My business address is 466 Southern Boulevard in Chatham, New Jersey.
And if I may, Mr. Weber, will you be seeking to have Mr. Clark accepted as an expert in the field of civil engineering, land surveying, or both?
Oh,
Please proceed with it.
Mr. Clark, have you presented testimony before the planning board?
Yes, it's been a little while since I've been in front of this board, this planning board. I appear with regularity, it feels, in front of the zoning board of Summit, and most commonly in front of the zoning board of Chatham Borough, Madison, the planning board in Madison, and recently I was in front of Florham Park's planning board.
And is your license in good standing?
It is.
And you've been a civil engineer for how many years now?
I'm supposed to remember that. Since 1995.
And you're familiar with the city of Summit and its DRO?
I am.
And you're familiar with the site?
I am.
How did you achieve that familiarity?
Well, I was contracted to conduct the survey, so I conducted the survey. As I'm a sole proprietor, it means I myself walked the property and collected all the field data, so I'm very familiar with the property on a first-hand basis.
And did you also prepare the minor subdivision plan that's presented to the board?
I did.
I would ask that the board accept him as an expert in civil engineering and land surveying.
Yes, it's accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark, do you prefer to go through question and answer, or do you prefer to present your testimony?
How about I'll go with the testimony, and then you can fill in any blanks as I miss things.
And you'd like to use the paper, am I not mistaken?
Yeah, I'm
So
hanging on to the
Fine by me.
paper.
I prefer it.
then I'll try and follow along, but by my having it on the screen should not be constituted as the testimony. It's really illustrative.
Got it. And this is, just give us the date.
Sure.
And the,
I have
to
two plans.
identify.
There's the topographic survey, which was submitted, which is dated January 14th, 2025.
and that's the same one that was submitted with the application materials more than 10 days in advance of this evening?
Correct.
Okay, it doesn't have to be marked as an exhibit, just be clear, please, when you reference it.
It's the same as the materials, that's right. And likewise, I'll be referring to the proposed minor subdivision plan that I prepared, which is dated July 7th, 2025, and last revised through January 7th, 2026.
And again, that was submitted more than 10 days from this evening, as I recall. So again, does not need to be marked, just clearly referenced when you're dealing with the minor subdivision versus the topo.
Will do. And I'll start out with the topo to describe the existing conditions.
Thank you.
So, as was indicated previously, the address is 268 to 270 Ashland Road. The building itself has 270 as the address. This is Lot 2 in Block 5303. It's in the R15 zone on Ashland Road, one lot removed from Rotary Drive. The lot itself is 110 by about 201 feet wide, 22,078 square feet in area. What exists currently on the property is, as was described, dwelling in the middle that was once bifurcated use for dwelling as well as a doctor's office. And accordingly, there are two driveways. There's one on either side of the dwelling. Then in the rear of that existing dwelling is a rectangular slate patio. And running along the back of the property, there's a storm drain. The drainage patterns for the site basically drains from the, I'll call it the bottom left of the drawing as we look at it, the northeast corner, down to the southwest corner or the upper right corner. So that's the general drainage pattern. In this case, the drainage flow from the street is a little bit towards the dwelling, which isn't preferred, but it's modestly graded in that regard, so it's not problematic. Water still sheds to both sides of the dwelling. Now, there is no formal stormwater management that I was able to observe on site, aside from the pipe that runs down the back line. A note on that pipe, it was raised as a concern by the neighbors, and I think it may have been referenced in one of the review memos That pipe has been inspected, so we did a TV inspection of that line to verify its integrity and where it connects to. So it definitely connects out to the catch basin and rotary as shown. The condition was shown to be in good condition, so there's no displacements of the pipe, no apparent cracking or penetrations of the pipe. It's in good condition, good working condition. It also appears, while I couldn't determine this during the survey, that pipe extends to the east a bit onto Lot 3. So there's another catch basin somewhere on Lot 3 they determined by their inspection and runs down there. As far as we can tell, this is a private line. There's no municipal easement around that currently, and we couldn't see anything in the title record or in the deed research that I did that indicates there's an easement. So I believe it was a private line that was put in to relieve some stormwater issues along that rear line between Rotary and the Ashland properties. But it does appear to be functioning. So that's the sum total of the stormwater management. Otherwise, the roof leaders discharge at grade, either in the driveway or adjacent to the dwelling, and just flows overland towards that drain. And that summarizes the existing conditions. Of course, the trees are shown. That'll get into more detail with the landscaping plan in terms of the trees and what's being removed and replacements and things of that nature. That summarizes the existing conditions. So what we're proposing to do, I'm now going to refer to the proposed subdivision plan. And so, as was indicated before, this property was originally developed as part of a 1956 filed map. So in 1956, there were 2 lots that comprised what is currently Lot 2. What we're proposing now is to effectively restore that old lot line and create the same exact 2 lots that were created in 1956 with the filed map. Along with that, we have a proposed development plan that takes those 2 lots and develops single-family homes on each with a driveway and a patio and a front walk servicing them. Lot 201 that we're proposing would be closest to the Rotary Drive intersection, and Lot 202 is on the left side, farthest from that intersection. These lots are sized at 11,000 square feet exactly on Lot 202 and 11,078 square feet on proposed Lot 201. One of the variances that we're seeking right now is for the lot area, and that's because currently this is the R15 zone, so the zone itself has a 15,000 square foot requirement, but also Summit has a neighborhood average requirement as well, which is tabulated on this subdivision plan sort of just to the left of the key map. So you can see what comprises that. In Summit, it's the 3 lots to either side of the subject property and the 3 lots across the street from the subject property. In this case, there's only 1 lot to the west because the corner of Rotary Drive arrives, and that breaks the averaging. You don't pass the road with the averaging. So we have Lot 1, we have Lot 3, 4, and 5 that are on the same side of Ashland. If you look at those are the first 4 lots listed in the table, and you can see those average just shy of 11,000 square feet, 10,800 about square feet is the average for those 4 lots. So we're right in the consistent zone of those adjacent lots. What pulls us to a non-conforming status and brings that average up to 15,948 are the 3 lots across the street, which are lots 7, 8, and 9 across the street. And you can see that lot 7 itself is just shy of an acre, and all 3 of those are substantially larger than the stretch of lots that we have adjacent to us on our side of the street. So what we're proposing is very consistent with the lot arrangement that's directly adjacent and near our property on our side of the street, but because of that averaging, we do need that variance for the area. Similarly, the front yard setback is also affected by that. So we have one of the lots, the flag lots, excluded from that average, and you can see in the table. The other two are 44.8 and 59 feet across the street, again, because those are deeper lots and they're set back farther. But if you look at the front yards of the 4 lots that are adjacent to us, we're entirely consistent with that, and it makes sense because they were all part of that same 1956 subdivision. And on that subdivision map at the time, there was actually a setback line that was incorporated in the subdivision at 30 feet. So these houses were developed consistent with that 1956 subdivision and that setback line. Now we have 28.3 and 28.5 as the front setback. That's to the porch specifically. The main body of the dwellings is at 33.5 feet and 33.3 feet. So again, that's very consistent with, maybe a little bit better than some of the other houses that are directly in our streetscape on our side of the street. So we feel that this is a very compatible proposal and presentation for the development of these dwellings. It's very consistent with the neighboring houses. It's not as consistent with the ones across the street, but also those don't relate visually as much to what we're developing on this side of the road. In terms of stormwater management, overall, we don't change the drainage patterns. We haven't altered the grades much. There is a little bit of alteration, but it's not a significant restructuring of the grading, and the drainage patterns are the same. But what we are doing is adding stormwater management where there is none. Technically, I think it was pointed out in the engineering review memo that we're increasing the total lot coverage for this site from the existing condition to the proposed condition, including both houses and both driveways and patios and walks, less than 300 square feet. So it's very close to the existing coverage profile. That said, we recognize that we're here seeking variance relief, so we are trying to make a substantial improvement in this regard. So what we're doing is we have a dry well for each property that captures the roof area and the driveway of each property, and then manages it with the dry well. And the overflow would effectively be at the catch basin itself. Now the design I have established here is for those areas, the house and the driveway, but it's a bit of an over design. So in fact, these dry wells should handle much closer to a 4-inch rain than a 3-inch rain. It's about 3.8-inch rain. So we're going above and beyond, even within the context of the design, to make sure that we're not leaving a bad condition for the future residents of the property, and certainly not for the neighbors. In fact, I think the neighbors in the back, clearly they have some stormwater issues that have existed over time. That's why this drain line is there. We're going to help with that by reducing our commitment to and contribution to that drain line. So there should be a net substantial improvement in terms of the stormwater management. And with that, that summarizes the proposed conditions. I'd be happy to take questions from Mr. Weber if he has anything that I might have.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. The setback from the rear of the house is 45 feet?
That's correct. I think there was some reference to rear yard setback as a variance, but it's not. We're at 45.5 feet, so we're respecting the rear yard 45-foot requirement. The deviation that we do have in the rear yard, however, is to the patios. So the patios are permitted to extend 10 feet into the required rear yard, so they would have to be 35 feet. We're at 27.7 or 27 feet is for the proposed patios. 27.7 is the existing patio setback. So we're very consistent with where the existing patio was over on sort of this middle left side of the property. And we're respecting the 27 feet, so we're very close to what that setback was with the patio.
And the 27 feet, does that require a variance for that setback?
I believe that unless they changed it, the ordinance always did stipulate that you could only extend 10 feet into that rear yard, which would be a 35-foot setback, and we're at 27, so it's an 8-foot deviation.
And in terms of the setback, that 27 was something that was agreed, part of the agreements that was reached with the neighbors. And one of the neighbors, if I can see, one of the lots has their house relatively close to the property.
That's right, lot 35, and I surveyed and indicated that house on there just for context, so we could see where that was. And their dwelling corner is 15.6 feet off, which I believe is compliant because I think that's technically a side yard for them based on the fact that they're a corner, so they have 2 side yards. But
And-
they are nonetheless proximate.
And in terms of the original plan that you had prepared for the driveways, have the driveways been reoriented in response to the discussions between the applicant
That's-
and the neighbors?
That's correct. Initially, the driveways on both sides came straight out and they were fairly close to the boundary. In this case, we added a little bit of a return in there to pull those driveways in from the boundaries a bit to provide landscaping opportunity and a little bit of distance.
I have nothing further, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Weber, thank you, Mr. Park. Go to the board, questions for the board?
What's the distance between the end of the driveway and the property line? I guess on both sides, because it,
Yeah, I don't have
Sorry,
the
can you
exact
repeat that?
number in front of me. It's about 10 feet. It's 10 feet over here. I do have it labeled, and it's at least 10 feet on the right side.
and that 10 feet maintains all the way to,
Till it starts to curve in a little bit, yeah. You know, we had to curve in a little bit just because you need a minimum backup space behind the garage.
Mr. Clark, can you tell me what type of storm, 100-year, were the dry wells designed for?
So Summit requires the design for the captured surface that you're managing with a 3-inch rainfall. And so as I indicated before, the sizing of these is for about a 3.8, 3.9 inch rainfall, so almost 4-inch rainfall. So it's a little bit more than what the standard is for Summit.
Okay. And then my other question is, you had mentioned that there was an inspection done of the pipe in the backyard, but when I look at the agreement with the neighbors, has that been done since? It sounded as though when they came out to do the inspection, there was ice and they had to come back again. Has it
Yeah,
been?
and then things warmed up a bit.
Okay.
And because we had some conversation right before that, and I said, well, it looks like we got some warming coming, maybe they can come back out. And they did come back out, and they were able to do their inspection.
Okay, great.
Initially, there was too much ice, and it was too blocked.
And then my last question is, it looked like as though there was a change in the impervious coverage from the first time when our professionals did the memo to the second time.
Yeah,
I
there
was
was
just
a
trying to
little
understand that.
adjustment. There was a little adjustment in coordinating with the landscape design, because they weighed in on some of the hardscaping, and I had sort of I'm not the most creative one in the team generally, so I had more of a rectangular boring patio, and we had a little bit of difference in the patio, so yeah, it
Okay.
did change a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Go ahead.
So the pipe that is in the back, that attaches to the basin on Rotary?
That's right.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't design all the drainage to get into that pipe as opposed to a dry well, which
Well,
we all know in Summit with the,
yeah, I mean, that could be an option if we find out that the soils are, just abhorrent out there, if they're terrible soils, but I don't think we'll find that, because I actually just did a recent project on the other side of Rotary, and the perk was not bad. So I think we'll be fine, but it's really to make sure that we're not overburdening that system.
And what's a perk?
The perk rate is the rate that the water re-infiltrates back into the soil. So it's the frequency, the rate at which the water gets back into the soil. So we put that into the dry well, and then over a period of a couple of days, the water soaks back into the soil. So that's the perk rate, percolation rate.
and there is no dry well currently, so
No.
this is a big improvement for.
Big improvement.
Can you tell me, I'm looking at the neighborhood average analysis. It seems to me if you added properties 6, 10, 33, and 34, you might get some markedly different averages, and I'm wondering why they're not included.
6, 10. I'm not sure which lots you're talking about.
6, is right next to 7. 6 is one of the deep ones, so you did one of the deep ones across the street, which is 7. But you didn't do 6 or 10, which are also right across the street. And you didn't add in 33 and 34 on Rotary, and I'm just wondering if you can tell me why, because I think that would change the data a lot.
Well, the Summit in the neighborhood average very clearly states that it's, if you're facing the property, 3 houses to the left, 3 houses to the right, up to an intervening street, and then the 3 houses that are directly across the street. Now, in this case,
So that would be,
and it comes up with some frequency that even though it's clearly spelled out that way, when you start to apply it to the ground, you could debate. I use what seemed to me to be the 3 most directly across, but you don't add in extra ones necessarily. It specifically says the 3 across and the 3
no, I'm
on
just
either
trying to
side.
figure out where it comes out in the average. And so if you saw the neighbors in the back, 33 and 34, and you
Right.
saw 2, if you added even one of these deeper properties, your average would change a lot.
Sure, yeah, of course it would. Yeah, I mean, the averaging for subdivision used to be taking the entire block. That's what we used to do before the neighborhood average was implemented. And that posed a whole bunch of other challenges of its own.
Yeah, I think in this case, the average analysis just doesn't give you great output. That's just my opinion, just looking at these.
I don't disagree with you. I feel like that happens a lot. I understand the intent with across the street, but a lot of times it causes more distortion than it does
And it
bring
has,
harmony.
and it doesn't do anything with anybody behind you. Lots 33 and 34?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I
Again,
mean,
that's
I think
because
I think the philosophy is that it's the streetscape that's
it's
most
true,
important.
but the ordinance provides that when you come up to an intersection, that's when you stop turning the corner for the other properties in the back. So the ordinance is the area that says, just as you've indicated, it's the streetscape is what you're looking for.
Okay.
If I
It
could ask
just
a
doesn't, it
clarifying
just doesn't
question?
give you good data, is my point. It doesn't really tell you.
I don't disagree with you. That's why, to me, I revert back to the layperson sort of reviewing this, you know? So to me, that's why I lean back on the streetscape itself. And so I look more at the houses that are on either side of us a little bit more than the ones that are across the street, just to see if we're in context.
And I will say, Mr. Burgess, we were probably talking about this before the meeting, but I think it does provide value that these houses, I went there today, the houses, I think it's more appropriate to look at the setbacks for these particular 2 streets. Looking at the lot size on Rotary, Susan, why I understand lot size, but when you're looking at the house setbacks on Ashland, it's almost like they have to be consistent because it's,
Right.
you know,
It starts to look
it starts to look visually,
odd.
right.
Yeah.
And the lots across the street, like Joe and I were talking about today, are longer and deeper.
Well, and because of the makeup of the ones across the
Right.
street, there's a variation in there too. So there isn't the same sort of like line of houses that you have on the other side, because you got some of these are flag lots, they're set way back. So yeah, it's a little interesting, the application.
Yeah, no, I just wanted, for clarification purposes, and notwithstanding judgment views of how the ordinance impacts and what the data it gives us in this particular circumstance, for clarification purposes, you complied with the ordinance in measuring the neighborhood averages, both for the lot area and for the front yard setbacks. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and if I may, Mr. Burgess, would you concur or disagree?
No, I do agree that he did it correctly.
Correctly.
And the rest, while it's an interesting discussion, you have to adhere to the ordinance.
Okay,
Thank you for that clarification.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
On the front yard minimum setbacks, it was already non-conforming, right, the existing lot, and now you're taking it in, making it a little tighter? Is that, so what's
Well,
the reason for that?
the existing front yard is 34 feet, and the main body of the houses on here is 33 and a half and 33.3, so it's very close to what the existing condition is. And part of that was, we could have better respected the front setback in terms of meeting exactly what was there, or going a little farther back, but then we're bumping up against the rear yard setback. We felt like it was more important to respect the rear yard setback and the neighbors in the back and have a slight deviation in the front, but still fall in line with the existing streetscape that's there.
Okay, and it's like this front yard steps, or the front door steps that's taking it to 28.
Correct, it's the portico, that's right, that's right.
Any other questions for Mr. Clark from the board?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to go a little bit through my letter.
Sure.
You know, you're going to make me work for my money tonight because you covered a lot of what I had in here, so I appreciate that. I did review his calculations for the seepage pit that's on the property. I take no exception. I think it is above and beyond what needs to be done according to your ordinance. I noticed that you have a driveway inlet in there. Is it possible to put some kind of clean out in there so that when any leaves or debris
Yeah,
fall in there, it's
my
easier
normal
to...
detail has a sump in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
Is there a landscape architect who's gonna?
there is.
Okay, I'll hold off on that. The other thing would be that I know the county had requested certain
Yeah,
standards.
they had a few comments about the curbing along the front and certain details that they like to follow, and I knew that was coming. We'll certainly incorporate that into any final revision for permitting.
And, you know, for the board's understanding, it's really just a cut and paste that he needs to put on the plan, but I just figured I'd point that out.
Yeah, I
so.
bumped into it a few times in
Okay.
Summit on county roads.
Okay. And I have other questions for the landscape architect, but that's it.
Madam Chair, before we leave the engineering report, if I could get a clarification for purposes of a resolution, I'll be drafting it regardless of the outcome of the case. Ms. Ruffey, you were referring to the January 16, 2026 engineering review, the most recent one?
Yes, so, yeah, and let me clarify. You know, normally what I do when there's extra revisions that come out, I would normally take my report and highlight things, and I'd put it in bold, and I wouldn't normally change it. My understanding, and I assumed this incorrectly, I should have asked, was that you had none of you had seen it. Nobody was going to ever see my first letter, and it was going to go in the trash. And so now here it is,
You
it's an
did, okay.
exhibit. So it is.
But this is with the benefit of the the revised plans and revised landscaping plans?
Correct, yes. My first letter said something about that they had to have some seepage pits, that there weren't any on there, it needed to be there, and now that's not the case, but they are putting it in.
And just for clarification purposes, the list of conditions that was submitted with respect to the 4 adjacent neighbors had attached to it the earlier version of the engineer's plans, just so everybody understands that to the extent it has any bearing on anything.
And certainly, if I can, following up with that, as the applicant indicated, they have agreed to be subject to the board engineer's comments, subject to the testimony of their respective experts. And I would expect that the current engineering report would be attached if the board approves the application to that resolution.
You anticipated one of my 2 next questions correctly. The other question being, just for confirmation purposes, is the applicant agreeing with and stipulating to all the comments in the most recent January 16, 2026 engineer's memo, even though we're going to hear a little more from a landscape architect and what have you?
Yes, subject to the testimony of their experts in response to the board engineer's comments.
Okay, so generally, we could assume it will comply as to all.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further thank you for that opportunity.
Any other questions, Joe?
More in the form of a comment. Apropos of what I had said earlier about complying with the manner in which the ordinance mandates that you do the calculation that he did, and I had indicated that you have to comply, there is still the issue they are seeking variance relief, In large measure, this issue of lot size and front yard setback is a negative criteria case. So I guess I'm giving Mr. Barry a heads up in terms of what I'd like to hear when he gets up to speak on that issue.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. One final question. Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
Yeah, there was one last thing I wanted to touch on engineering, because as has begun happening, the city engineer Aaron issued some comments, and one of his comments was indicating that this area is slated to have some sidewalks
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna ask.
incorporated in the 2026 plans. So I will coordinate with him and find out, what their details are of that, and make sure we incorporate what he's
Yep.
requesting in our plans.
So I'd like to recommend that that be a condition of, under consideration.
Yep, they've stipulated to it that's Mr. Schrager's January 16th, I guess it is, staff comment report. It's a will comply, correct?
Yeah, it looks like January 7th is the date of his memo.
On the top, yeah, I'm going with the bottom where he signed it.
Oh, right, so multiple dates.
Absolutely.
The other condition that I would like on that same thought is requiring or going through the engineering department for that drainage, ensuring that that's properly, send that report through.
Of course.
I've had a chance to confer with the applicants, and they, if the board approves the application, would agree with those conditions.
Okay. Any members, everybody's good here? Any members of the public would like to ask questions? Mr. Malay?
You were done with this witness, correct?
Yes.
You could state your name and your address again, sir?
Ayman Maleh, 271 Ashland Road. I have a question regarding the elevation.
Okay.
Sir, if you could just speak into the microphone. I know you want to
I'm
look at
sorry,
it.
okay. On your drawings, we see that the finished floor elevation is given, and you have an assumed datum,
Yes.
and the roof elevation or ridge elevation is. Are these final, or are they subject to changes with the if there is any ground?
I mean, we're not proposing any changes to that. The architectural plans are what the relationship between the floor and the ridge are based on the architectural plans. And of course, I've demonstrated here that we comply with the height requirements. So I don't think there are any specific changes planned at this time for
Will
those.
there be an architect testifying tonight?
Yes, there's an architect.
Okay, so that question will go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There are no changes proposed to the architectural plans.
Thank you.
When I say that, substantially similar in terms of design. So in other words, there may be some changes to windows or something along those lines. So it would be
Understood.
substantially similar. But in terms of the height, roof pitch, no, that was part of the points that was discussed with the neighbors. So that's it.
Perfect. And I think we can move on to, would you like to call your next witness?
If I could have the landscape architect be sworn in to give testimony in this matter.
Ms. Chairman, can I run for a sec to get my water bottle? I'll be right
Of
back.
course you can, Ms. Bowen.
And can I have a moment?
Absolutely.
I think we're taking a 1-minute break?
Take a,
2 minutes?
we'll take a 2-minute or 3-minute
2 minutes?
recess.
We're missing our board secretary.
Oh, yeah, we'll wait for her. Now I know why our city clerk needs an extra chair next to her to leave all of her paperwork. With your next witness, Mr. Weber.
If I could have Mr. Ed Clark sworn in.
Certainly. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And name again, please, and address, business address is fine.
Good evening.
Please just ensure the microphone's turned on. Should be a button there.
Good evening. My name is Edward Clark, Landscape Architect, 362 Route 206, Flanders, New Jersey.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, have you presented any testimony with regard to landscape architecture before any municipal agencies of the city of Summit?
I have.
And can you tell the board how many times you've spoken or testified before municipal agencies in the city or in and around?
In Summit, maybe 3 or 4 times in the past 2 years. And we provide testimony throughout northern Jersey into New York State, most locally and recently Summit, New Providence, Mendon, Burnsville, Hoboken, Franklin Lakes.
And you're licensed as a certified landscape architect in the state of New Jersey?
I am. It's in good standing since 1996.
And how long have you been performing or engaging in landscape architecture?
I'm licensed since 96. I grew up in the business, frankly.
I have nothing further. I would ask that you be accepted as a landscape architect,
you.
as an expert.
Yes, that's fine.
Would you be so kind as to go over your plan for the board, and then refer to the comments of John Linson, and then I would expect that the planner and engineer would have their own questions.
Okay. So I've had the opportunity to visit, walk, and photograph the site twice, and I'm going to present the plan. I usually work from the road back, but I feel like on this one I want to work from the back towards the road.
And before we do, if I may, Madam Chair, this is this a new exhibit, colorized version, or was this submitted with the previously?
The one that we have up on the screen was the one that was submitted, so I think that in response to the comments of John Linson, the plan that Mr. Clark has up on the screen is the current one. But could you show a revision date on that,
It
so
is,
that we clarify?
January 6th,
Okay.
2026.
Okay, and that was submitted to the board, I believe.
Yes.
So we, again, we don't have to mark this as an exhibit. You'll just be clear in what you're referencing and
I think it
speaking.
would make sense to mark it as an exhibit.
No harm?
This is not the one that was submitted with the correspondence to Jessica Sands. Even though the date may be the same, what we have is a change in response to the comments of John Linson. So
Oh,
perhaps
okay.
we can have
Let's mark
Ed go through that, because when we see the one that's up on the screen, we're talking about emerald arbor vitae.
So, Mr. Weber, if I could just-
A5.
So we're going to clarify this, we're going to make this A5. Thank you.
Yes, can you explain why what we're seeing was submitted, and what's the difference?
The difference will be page right on lot 201. As you can see here, originally we were proposing a plant called emerald arborvitae, where the driveway gets closest to the property line, and that was driven by the amount of space we had to work with. It's a more narrow plant, provides screening, it's a conifer, it's evergreen, 12 months of foliage. Not a favor of Mr. Linson's for, I understand his reasoning why. We revisited that section on this plan.
Well, why? Why is it not a favorite of his?
Primarily deer damage. I mean, it's the right tree, right place. And again, it's a tight space. We want to provide some screening. It's not my favorite plant either, frankly, but again, it seemed like it was the right plant, right place. The deer situation, being what it is, was a driver, would lead to a maintenance commitment to the future property owner. And originally, we provided, for the rest of the screening, the conifers, the evergreens. There's a green giant arborvitae, more deer-resistant, tougher tree, more resistant to storm damage. Again, we just switched to the emeralds in that section because of the space we had to work with. So in lieu of those narrow emerald green arborvitaes with the deer damage and potential storm damage, we designed that section. We're providing a column.
I'm sorry, for purposes of the record, that section being
This section I'm
directionally.
pointing to, yep, page right, directly across from the garage doors of lot 201, where the curb line is closest to the property line. Just for that width, where the curb line is closest to the property line, we've replaced the emerald green arborvitaes with a combination of 3 Armstrong maples, which is a very narrow crowned shade tree. So the branching height will start 6 foot off the ground. It's a deciduous tree, but even in the off-season, its densely branched will provide some buffering. It is underplanted with a hedge of skip laurels, which is an evergreen. The install height on the skip laurels is 4 to 5 feet. It's planted in a hedge style, and that selection, it's evergreen. It'll obtain some height to it, so it'll fill into the bottom of the Armstrongs. More deer resistant, and lends itself to hedging, so we can maintain its width in that area we're working with between the curb line and the property line. So that's what drove that switch directly across from the garage doors of the home at lot 201.
And the maples, how high will they be at time of planting?
The 14 to 16 foot. And at 14 to 16 foot in height, that's what it'll tip out at. The crown will be, again, it's a narrow street tree. It'll be a crown width of about 3.5 feet.
I interrupted to go through the change. Can you continue with the remainder of the testimony with regard to the landscaping?
Yes, thanks. Again, so usually you go from the road back, I'm going to work from the back towards the road. So having visited the site, my intent is always to keep, when possible, any good trees we can keep. And I get accused of keeping trees that shouldn't be kept more often than vice versa. The existing trees, again, as per the Summit ordinance, looking at a shade tree is something 12 inches in diameter or greater. The existing trees are indicated in that light gray graphic you see around the plan. Okay. And the red ones are live trees greater than 12 inch that are going to be removed as part of the project. The ones that don't have a red X, say these two in the back, they're currently dead. There's one large hemlock here in this light gray graphic. We're going to try to retain that. It's in quite good condition, and it gives us some screening higher up right out of the gate.
Now, when you say you're going to retain one, that even though it has an X back here?
No, the hemlock, I'm sorry, center, back corner of lot 202. These are dead spruces to be removed. There's a live hemlock in the corner of, back right corner of lot 202. So in total, between the two lots, there's a total of 5 trees greater than 12 inches being removed. And between the two lots, there's a total of 24 trees being replaced. The ordinance would require 5 trees being replaced. So what I'm going for with the planting plan, we'll get to there's screening, there's canopy, there's a street tree presence, and there's the foundation planting. With the overall canopy, just because it's kind of chronological order too. So I've talked about the removals. The intent is to restore canopy. So there's significant canopy coverage from these trees being removed. There's significant canopy coverage in most of the neighborhood, trying to restore that. So throughout the property, there's a series of street trees that will bring that in, bring back the canopy, bring back the shade, and contribute what it does to, slowing down stormwater from hitting the ground. So that's the canopy aspect. The screening aspect, working from the back to the front. So the primary screening tree is green giant arborvitae, very common tree. And if you don't know a lot about trees, you probably have heard of that one. It's kind of the go-to screening tree, the in vogue tree. The past 15 years, they perform well between deer, storm damage, and they can be maintained, they can be let go in terms of height. So that green giant arborvitae treatment starts at the back corner of the residence of lot 201, heads towards the back, runs the entire back property line, and then stops at the corner, the back left corner of lot 202. Those will be installed at a 10 to 12 foot height the day of the install. In terms of conifers, which are cone-bearing trees, spruces, arborvitae, hemlocks, that kind of thing. In terms of that height, that gradient of a 10 to 12 foot height, that is not where it tips out at. That's like the last whirl, they call it, the last bit of meat on the tree. So that's 6 foot on center, and that's our primary screening tree. We just talked about why we changed our approach across from the garage doors of lot 2.01. Once we get to the point where, as Andrew Clark mentioned before, we put a bend in the driveway to allow some room for landscape treatment. There's an area here where we can go back to the green giant arborvitae, stopping them well short of the end of the driveway, so as the tree grows, we don't have a sightline issue for cars leaving and entering the driveway. So that's one aspect of the screening and the main aspect of the screening. Again, working from the back of the property forward, another added aspect of screening, you can see on the back of the house on the, call it the back side of the patios, there's three ornamental trees on this end of the patio, a tall shade tree here, similar treatment on the back of lot 202. Those trees, the shade trees, come in larger to begin with, again, tipping out 14, 16 feet, will provide another layer of screening from the houses behind, a little buffering of the second story out of the gate, in time a little buffering of the roof, in addition to providing some shade for the proposed residences. Another layer yet of screening, we kept the patios and the walks, we pulled them off the house, so there's an opportunity for a planting bed against the house, so there's some more screening of the construction from the rear view to the proposed residences. So, talked about the screening, talked about the canopy. I'm going to jump forward and talk about the street trees. So there's one existing street tree to be removed in front of lot 202. If you had the opportunity to see the site, you can see over the years it's been severely and poorly, heavy-handedly pruned by the power company, and it's very misshapen, and it also has a cavity in it. That tree is going to be removed. It should be removed regardless. It was planted.
That's a Norway maple, isn't it?
It's Norway maple. It's an non-native invasive species. It's actually, state of New Jersey, just Governor Murphy was heading out, passed an invasive species regulation, and Norway maple is now banned in the state of New Jersey.
And the Summit Tree Ordinance also has designated it as what kind of tree?
It's non-native invasive. So easy decision to remove that because of that, just the condition it's in. So that one street tree comes out. In total, 4 new street trees come in front of lot 202 where we don't have a wire conflict. We're proposing swamp white oaks, native shade tree, broad canopy, long-lived. In front of lot 201, a more narrow Armstrong maple, which is a more narrow canopy to avoid future wire conflicts. So canopy, screening, street tree presence. I just want to talk now about the landscape around the home itself, and we've provided a little bit of height in the form of evergreens at each corner of the house, so the house is scaled down into the landscape. The edges of the house sort of are eclipsed by the evergreen material. Then the foundation plantings, which are around the house and by the driveway, they're not entirely native, but to the largest extent possible, we rely on native plant material, which I believe was one of the comments from the Environmental Commission, something we like to do anyhow. And then the balance of the treatment, the lawn areas will all be sodded, all the plantings and lawn areas will be irrigated. One more item on screening is the fencing treatment. So running in the same starting point as the arborvitae, back corner of the driveway of lot 201 starts a 6-foot board-on-board screen that will run to the back property line all the way across and to the back corner of the driveway at lot 202, and then it stops. It also, that same 6-foot high board-on-board fence, and there's an image of it on the bottom left corner of the page, runs down the property line between the houses and then stops at the front line of the homes. That graphic where there's a square and a straight line, square and a straight line, that's the board-on-board fence. When we get to the front line of the proposed homes, the fence treatment switches to a 4-foot high 2-rail, split rail fence, which runs from the front corner of the proposed houses to the front yard, front property line. And then it's open lawn from there to the curb or edge of road. One more additional item of screening is we've provided a fence, a tongue and groove fence around where the mechanical areas will be on each side of the house. So it's screened from the front, the back, and each side. It's 3-side enclosure for the mechanicals. And
Go ahead.
sorry, if I could just talk about the hardscape treatment. So we, as Andrew Clark mentioned, we kind of late in the game redesigned the patios again to make these nooks where we can get that other layer of screening, not only from the neighbors but from each house. We are going to, on the site now, there's some great old bluestone that was part of the original construction, salvageable. It's dry laid. We're going to salvage that. There's also hand split, old style Belgian block, very easily salvaged. We're going to salvage those two existing materials to be reused in the new landscape, which was another comment from the Environmental Commission. So that those will be incorporated into the rear patios and the new driveways, the front walkways for the home. Instead of doing concrete or a concrete paver, we went with a clay brick. It's timeless, holds its color well, and we felt it was more in character with the architecture of the homes. There's no landscape lighting proposed on either site.
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Does anybody, members of the board, have any questions? Yes, Councilmember Foley.
Yes, thank you, Chair, Chairwoman. A question about any future sidewalks. Could they be accommodated with this landscape plan?
They can. So and I think that was another comment from Mr. Linson, that maybe these 4 street trees just shift back a little to accommodate.
Okay.
The sidewalk would be in front of where the trees are, but we have space. We can move the trees back, so they end up being a little further from the sidewalk.
That's great, because I was looking at some of the photos, sort of the simulated appearance of the lot. It didn't really show that setback, so that helps.
Did you say that the patio is not going to be illuminated?
There's no landscape lighting proposed on either lot.
Can you explain your reasoning for putting, I think the trees are going to be in the cities right away. Is there any opportunity to, are they or?
They're just outside the road. They're on private property.
Oh, they are, okay, sorry,
We're gonna move
my
them a little
apologies.
further away.
Okay, my apologies. Any other questions for, I do have one more before we move on, but go ahead, Augusto.
Do you generally give your clients a rundown of regular tree maintenance that they could expect to help maintain their property? Landscaping maintenance?
Tree maintenance came up quite a bit in our conversations, and which was one of the things that led to that switch that we talked about in the beginning across from the garage doors. 'Cause that's a a maintenance commitment. I look for, with the shade tree, I look for, rule of thumb, we're trying to get 50 to 75 years out of a shade tree. You're going to get maybe 15 years out of a foundation planting, but with shade trees, that's what we try to do. I deliberately selected, particularly where the houses get close together, things that have a narrow canopy. So what I've seen over the years is 30 years down the road, the branches are pushing up against the house, and people either want to remove the trees or severely prune them back. So those things go into, we consider those things when we're doing the tree selection. That's why there's oaks in front of 202, and then those narrow Armstrong maples in front of 201. Wire conflicts, building conflicts, that kind of thing.
I also apologize if you covered this, but there is a 24-inch red maple towards the back of 202.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any conversations about trying to preserve that tree? What's the current condition?
That was my first thought, was to keep that.
Okay.
And this is the reality I find. Again, I stand guilty of keeping trees that shouldn't be kept more often than vice versa. In reality, between the grading, construction, that tree had what's called a co-dominant stem, where there's multiple stems like that. In time, where all those, called the crotch, where they come together, those get weak, and storms that go like this, and usually one goes. If it was a better tree, I would have pushed harder to keep it, better in terms of its structure. It's got a nice canopy. It's got a really nice canopy. So at first I was keeping that. I later came to remove it.
Of the trees that you'll be keeping, do you have any root protection that you intend to keep?
I don't know if it's on the civil plan. I don't have a tree protection detail on this sheet. When we do a set of CDs, that's part of it. For this presentation, I don't have those details on there.
When you say CD, are you referring to a construction drawing?
Yes.
Yeah. You intend to have that confirmed with the forester, John Linson, just so that he's aware at the time if your application proceeds?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be an appropriate condition to consider.
I concur.
I had a question around the split rail fence. What was the thought process behind that versus trees? And then Mr. Weber, when time permits, can you just, or maybe our planner, can you just talk a little bit about how that conforms to what's in our ordinance? Because I don't know anything about where these fences,
No, it does conform,
It does, okay.
yes. But I do have one or two comments. First off, our rural landscape architect took a look at the plant material, and he was satisfied with that. He did raise one question that's in our memo, and that's on the left lot, I guess it's lot 202.
Mm-hmm.
The same treatment that you provided right there, the same treatment that you provided on the lot 201 there, could you duplicate that on the other lot?
Thank you for mentioning that, because I forgot to bring that up. So at the request of the neighbor who lives in this lot, there is no, at first there was that same treatment over on lot 202. At the request of the neighbor, that's been removed. They wanted it open. They didn't want landscaping here. They wanted it open. They didn't want to interrupt the afternoon sunlight that hits their house. So that's why we stopped the trees in the back corner. And it's just shrubs down the side and no landscape in front.
But could you provide lower shrubs in that area to provide some additional green space?
We could. I thought the comment was a request for no landscaping. So the answer to that is yes, but if I remember the way that the comment was worded, it was no landscaping.
That's correct. The neighbor to the east had requested more sunlight than landscaping.
Is that lot 3 to the east?
I should know it though. Oh, yeah, sir. It's lot
Yes.
3.
Joe, any further questions?
No, that covers it. They just don't understand how low shrubs affect sunlight for that adjoining house.
Marie, any questions?
I do just have one request to make that none of the trees appear to be encroaching on the dry well that's supposed to be in the yard. I know we're kind of, I just want to make sure that none of the roots are going to be climbing into that seepage pit that's there on either property.
That pit was proposed out here.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
I didn't answer your question about the fence, the 4-foot fence, the reasoning for it. It's just a design element. I wanted to provide a little bit of a separation, a little bit for the two homes to have a little bit of their own identity, so that it wasn't like just a stamp of one or the other. So the foundation plantings are slightly different. The fence provides a little visual, it's very open, but provides a little visual separation. Different street tree planting front. I just wanted them to have a little bit of their own identity. That's where that came from. It's just a design
Understood.
element.
I think my only comment around that is just the attempt to make it not look like a subdivision is obviously important. So to what extent that does or doesn't, but I understand why that would be, important to delineate those properties. Steve, do you have anything?
A few quick ones, if no one else has any. I guess one question, we're working with a slightly revised landscape plan since the one that was incorporated in a list of conditions. I guess maybe for council, that has no impact on the list of conditions that was submitted to the board?
There is a clause within that statement of conditions that allows for adjustments should the board choose to have that adjustment.
Right. And by that adjustment, you mean any adjustment, correct?
Any adjustment.
Right, which is a good segue. That's why I asked the first question. Just as a reminder to the board, and while you've heard things vis-a-vis what Lot 3D East would like and not like with respect to landscaping, I've been told that none of us are going to be here forever. I'm going to keep fighting that one personally, but that's up to you individually if you wish to do so. But variances run forever, so as our board knows. So again, the conditions are submitted to you as evidence on behalf of the applicant. Ultimately, the board will decide if the board grants, and if so, what the conditions of approval are that the board associates with such grant. May or may not match. A couple other quick questions. There were two other items in the city forester's January 8th report. One was I don't know if it was a recommendation about deer protection sprays, if I'm reading it correctly.
So that was with the
Prior.
right.
Okay, the emerald. Okay, so that's not applicable anymore.
Right.
Okay. And the other is the center of all trees planted on Ashland are beyond the rights of way. I guess we just did that. Your testimony in response to our board chair's question. The Environmental Commission, they had some recommendations as well. Do we in their September?
I believe that one of their recommendations was incorporating native plant material, which is something we do anyhow.
Right.
Though the list isn't and can't really be entirely native and accomplish some of the things we need to accomplish to the greatest extent possible, we naturally defer to native material.
And as far as reuse and recycling of the structure, maybe you spoke to that already with
The
respect to the
bluestone
bluestone? Yep.
and the curb material.
Yep.
I didn't find anything else we could.
Okay. And I take it we're not going to, well, you tell me. We strongly encourage the use of solar panels.
Well, outside the landscape architects.
That's, okay.
I don't think we have any solar panels. No.
Okay, just for clarification when there's a resolution. And I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Any members of the public? Any questions? Hearing none. Who's next up to bat, Steve?
We have the
Architect. Yeah.
architect, or we have John Barry. If there's specific questions, Madam Chair, to the architect, then the representations have been made, that the plans that have been submitted, the construction will be substantially similar.
If we could provide the testimony from the architect, that'd be great.
Very good. I would ask that Hike Egchian, if I pronounce your name correctly, be called to the stand to be sworn in to give testimony in this matter.
Sure. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Name and address, business address, fine for the record.
My name is Hike Ekshian, Ekshian. My office is at 42 Maple Street, South New Jersey, 07901. There might be any credentials.
If you don't mind, what's the name of your architectural firm?
I'm the principal owner of Space and Mark Architecture. Been in business over a decade. I've been in architecture in some form for almost 20 years. I've lived here in front of Summit Zoning Board before. I don't remember when I came at this board.
And your license is in good standing in the state of New Jersey?
Yes, it is.
Is your microphone working?
Just give it a tap.
Is it working? No?
I'll get new batteries.
Sorry.
Is
It's
it-
okay.
working now?
Oh, there, it might be working now. Try
Is it working now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it on?
All right.
Okay.
All right. So,
Are you familiar with the application that's currently pending before the board?
yes, I am.
And how did you achieve that familiarity?
I designed the two homes that are going on this.
Can you put it a little closer if you don't mind? The mic.
I can hear you, I just want to make sure the
I
public can
designed
hear
the
at
two
home.
homes that are we're proposing on this lot. When Steve and John Giannis came to me, they were looking to subdivide the land into two smaller properties and have a modest-sized home. Potentially, they may live in one of them, and so we designed it to their specifications. And being residents of Summit for multiple generations, they love the old traditional colonial style home, and so we designed it for that. So I'll speak about the
What's
form
up
of.
right now is a perspective for
Right.
Lot 201, and that's the lot that's furthest to the west, closest to Rotary.
Correct. All right.
And is that, it might not be exactly what was previously submitted, correct? I think we're up to an exhibit.
We did not change the
Oh, it
renderings.
is?
They're
Okay.
they're the same renderings as submitted.
Just hold on a second, please, Mr. Etienne. We're checking to see whether or not this
Same? Okay.
perspective was included as part of it was.
Yeah, lot 201 and 202, I don't know when it was provided, but more than 10 days in advance, Chester? Okay. We can proceed just referencing the two perspectives, lot 201 first, and then I guess 202.
We're proposing a colonial style home that's modest size, appropriate for this streetscape. As you can see, it consists of two volumes, as most colonials do. Everything is symmetrically divided on the entrance door. We have dormers proportional to the house. We're proposing hardy. The colors and
What's hardy?
Hardy is a cementitious lapboard that you see around a lot of the new homes that are being built in Summit. And we're proposing an off-white color, but those colors and little details may change at a later time. We're proposing crown molding, shutters, and a little portico that's less than, I believe, 35 square feet, which is integral to a colonial-style home. Usually, you'll find a sunroom, another room that's to the right or left of a colonial, and here we're also mimicking that, a two-story volume that's more than one-third of the building width, that's set back further from the main facade of the building. And we decided to do this because of our proximity to the street. And as you can see, the garage door is facing to the side. So from the street, the house is going to look like a home. And the reason we placed the houses the way we did was we placed the garage to the right and left to give the neighbors more open space, light and air. And we kind of took care of the privacy issue with screening as they agreed to between the.
Can you refer to now Lot 202?
Lot 202 is the mirror image of 201.
Oh, it's not a mirror image, is it?
It is in terms of volume and floor plan, but we are changing the materials to make it look significantly different than the others. So you're not going to drive down the street and looking at the same house over and over again. As you can see, the colors are completely different. It's a different material, brick versus hardy, and even the white materials that the dormers are a little off white and different color.
In the bottom left-hand corner, you should put the two homes side by side?
Correct. You can see two versions of it. One is during day, shown on 201, and one at night, how it would look. And then this image, at the bottom right corner of 201, we're looking towards lot 264. And you can see that the house, we modeled it as close to reality as possible. As you can see, they're about the same size as what we're proposing. They're the same similar style, a traditional home. And then at the bottom right corner of lot 202, you can find the two houses. We're looking now towards 8 Rotary. And we did model it to reality as closely as possible, and there was a lot of vegetation, so you can't see the house behind the vegetation. We actually modeled the vegetation in. And the landscaping that you're seeing is one of the versions, a previous version. We haven't updated it since then of what we were proposing, I believe, but it's close representation is not exact. Now I can walk you through one of the floor plans to show you what we were proposing inside the house.
Madam Chair, is the board interested going through the
I
floor
think we
plans?
can, as long as there's not any questions from the board, I think we can move forward without that.
Okay. Well, that concludes my testimony.
Well,
Thank you.
I believe that there would be questions that have been posed by the respective experts, and I'm sure that there may be questions from the
Yep.
board members
Thank you, Mr. I
themselves.
just have one question. Can you just confirm that the attic space will not be livable?
It will not be livable. At the highest point, it will be less than 7 feet. It will be full of insulation, mechanical equipment. There will not be any stairs going up there except for a pull-down stair to access the attic, unfinished attic space. So it won't even be able to convert it
Okay.
to a livable space.
Thank you for that.
later
Thank you
on.
for your presentation. Any questions from members of the board? Joe or Marie, would you have any questions?
No, none.
Just one point of clarification for everybody's benefit, and that is that there were floor plans and elevations submitted for both proposed residences, 2.01 and 2.02. And I take it your testimony is that they remain as proposed?
Yes.
As they were submitted?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
I would ask,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Weber.
I think we just
Question?
have public first.
Oh, right, yes, sorry. Members of the public with any questions? Hearing none. Mr. Weber, would you like to bring the planner?
yes, please.
Thank
I
you.
would ask that John Barry be called to the stand to be sworn in to give testimony in this matter.
Come over here, Joe.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And name and address, business address, fine.
Sure. John Barry, B-A-R-R-E-E, P.O. Box 45 in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, 07716.
Mr. Barry, have you testified before any municipal agencies of the city of Summit?
Yes, I've been before the planning board one time. It was while we were on Zoom, so it's some years ago now. And I've been before the zoning board probably half a dozen times over the last few years.
And you're a licensed professional planner, and your license is in good standing in the state of New Jersey?
I am, yes, it is.
And How long have you been a planner?
I've been licensed planner and a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners since 2014, and I was practicing for several years prior to receiving my license.
I would ask that you be accepted as a professional planner.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're familiar with the application that's before the board?
Yes, I am.
And how did you achieve that familiarity?
I was retained by the Giannis's to provide a planning testimony, prepare background, and provide the testimony this evening. I visited the property twice now, and I've met with the team on several occasions and reviewed all of the plans that were submitted, the revisions over the course of the application, the professional reports, and so forth.
Can you provide to the board your opinion as a professional planner as to the minor subdivision and the variances associated with it?
Sure. So what we've heard from the other witnesses and the initial evidence that was proffered this evening is that this application is proposing to essentially unwind a lot merger that happened after a series of lots were originally created along Ashland Road in 1956. The subject property is an oversized lot compared to its neighbors along Ashland that were created at that time, and it was used for a combination of home and medical office for a number of years, which is currently a non-conforming use that's proposed to be extinguished as part of the subdivision, at which point only the residential use on each lot would remain. We've heard the parameters of the site, the lot averaging we went through with the engineer and surveyor, so I won't belabor that point, but just to reiterate that the lot itself, the two lots that are proposed are very consistent with the other lots that front along Ashland on this same side of the street, and the flag lots and the other lots across the street have very different characteristics that change the calculations for some of the averaging purposes. The property's in the R15 single-family residential zone, and the purpose of the zone is similar to all the other single-family zones in Summit of preserving the integrity of single-family areas and having a compatible relationship between new or expanded houses and traditional neighborhood houses that reflect the best of neighborhood character. And I think that's particularly relevant here, and we'll talk a little bit about the master plan as well. The relief that's being sought deals with the insufficient lot area. Based on the averaging, 15,948 square feet would be required. Lot 2.01 is proposed to be 11,078 square feet. Lot 2.02, 11,000 square feet, so nearly identical, slightly larger for lot 2.01. And again, that's the line is proposed to be drawn as it was in the original 1956 map. We're also seeking relief for insufficient front yard setback. Based on the average, 38.1 feet would be required. The setback to the front portico entry steps is 28.3 feet for lot 2.01, 28.5 feet for lot 2.02, and then the main dwellings are 33.4 and 33.5 feet respectively.
You also heard that Andrew Clark had brought up the fact that when you have patios, if they're attached to the single-family residence, they can extend into the required rear yard by 10 feet. So at that point, we would be amending the application to include a variance to allow for those patios to be set where they're shown on the plans, as long as they are 27 feet from the rear lot line.
That's correct. So that location of the patio mimics what exists today with the patio, the setback for the patio of the existing home. So
And I'm sorry, I lost the minimum required setback for the patios was?
So it would be 45 feet is the required rear yard setback. The patio can go 10 feet into that, so 35-foot setback, where 27.
And is it
being
27
proposed.
versus 35 in both on both lots?
Correct.
Same amount? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And as I said, that's taking the setback line for the patio that exists today, essentially, and replicating that for the new build. The shape of the lots play into some of our testimony as far as the justification for the variances. There's an element of C1 hardship due to the shallowness of the lot. The property is 110 feet deep. By the time you take the 38-foot front yard setback and the 45-foot rear yard setback, you're only left with a building envelope of about 27 feet in depth, which is tight for a modern home. So we're using the space as best we can with the design. The encroachment is relatively moderate compared to what it could be with a much larger house. But I would offer that any new build on this lot would be likely to require either a front or a rear yard setback regardless of the subdivision because of that shallow nature. The existing condition of the home that exists today and has for 70 or so years is non-conforming. The other aspect of the relief that we could look to is the C2 benefits versus detriments test, looking at the purposes of zoning as the positive side of the ledger, essentially. Would offer that purpose A of guiding the appropriate use of property to promote the public health, safety, morals, and welfare is met here. We've got the removal of an older property that's falling into disrepair, replacing it with 2 new modern houses with modern amenities, stormwater management enhancements, landscape enhancements that are certainly improvements over the existing conditions. Purpose E also of providing location for appropriate population densities. The 2 proposed houses fit better into the context of this neighborhood, in my opinion, than one much larger, I would call oversized house would fit if the lot were being developed as a single dwelling. The houses that are proposed are 2,700 square feet, give or take. So if you were developing this as a single lot, you'd probably be looking at 5,000 plus square foot house, which would dwarf the neighbors along the street here. Purpose I, encouraging a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques. I think we've got the setbacks are matching the neighbors, which is promoting a desirable visual environment despite the relief that's sought, and certainly not out of character. And the enhancements with the landscaping and new architecture provide a handsome dwelling along, two handsome dwellings along Ashland. And then on the other side of the ledger, we have the negative criteria, talking about if the relief can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. Normally, we're looking at impacts to the adjacent properties. As has been discussed extensively this evening, the applicant went to great lengths to try to meet the neighbors, figure out what the concerns might be, address those concerns prior to coming before the board. So just with that context, there's certainly an element of removing any detriments or mitigating the detriments that may be perceived. The stormwater management improvements will be enhancement over existing conditions, same with the landscape enhancements, and all the setbacks to the neighboring properties will be met for the structures. So there's adequate light, air, and open space being preserved. So I don't see any detriment to the surrounding neighbors. Obviously, some of them are here this evening and they can share their concerns as they like. And then lastly, that the relief can be granted without impairment of the zoning ordinance and master plan. The use that's proposed is permitted in the R15 zone. The bulk relief is not extreme, in my opinion. It fits in well with its context, its historic surroundings. And then looking at the 2016 reexamination and master plan for the city, Mr. Weber brought this up at the beginning of the meeting, but there are several objectives that reference. Objective 1.04 talks about maintaining the prevailing character of neighborhoods, and Objective 4.01 talks about promoting the development of a variety of housing types. And both of those include language that talks about discouraging the consolidation of lots and building houses that are larger and out of character with the traditional development patterns. And this lot is already consolidated, and if we were building a single new house on it, it would be directly contrary to what the master plan is looking for in that case. So the subdivision and the development of 2 smaller homes is right in line with what the master plan looks for. So in that context, I would say not only is there no substantial detriment, it's actually a preferred alternative based on what the master plan is seeking for development purposes here. I think that's all I've got.
When you mentioned the impairment of the intent and purpose of the master plan and zoning ordinance, that's a substantial standard as well.
It is.
Nothing further.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions from the board for testimony here? Expert. Any other questions? Okay. Mr. Burgess?
Actually, just a few observations. because I actually liked what Mr. Barry had said. And then earlier I had talked about how this is really a negative criteria case. And the reason why I said that is when one drives down the street, it's not that you see it's the excessive depth of this properties across the street. You see the lot widths. And the lot width, I did a calculation, the average lot width along that street is about 70 or 75 feet. Here we have two lots, each of which are 100 feet. So they're still going to look larger in dimension than some of the lots in the area, even though the ordinance calculation that was mentioned earlier talks about an average of 15,900 feet. You don't see a lot of that because most of it is the depth of the property rather than the width. In terms of the positive criteria, these 4 or 5 lots on the same side of the street are all about 110 feet at depth. So they are rather shallow. I would agree that given the front yard requirement and the rear yard requirement, you are limited in terms of the size of the depth of a house that you could place here. And in terms of the second prong of the positive criteria, is there a public benefit in terms of stormwater management, in terms of landscape amenity? I think there are certain public amenities that accrue from the application. So when you're debating all of this at the end, after we hear from the public, I would just suggest you keep some of those points in mind if you're of a mind to look at it that way.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Marie, would you have any?
No, I have nothing.
Any members of the public?
May I
yeah,
real quick?
sorry.
Thank you. And maybe to dovetail off Mr. Burgess's, but just a couple of quick questions for clarification. With respect to the C1 undue hardship criteria that was argued as being part of, along with the C2 criteria, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that your C1 undue hardship argument would play primarily into the front yard setback deviations for the 2 lots, and maybe the patio setback deviations on the rear, from the rear yard for both those lots, but not the lot area deviations, because you're subdividing the lot, your client's subdividing the lot, and hence that might constitute a self-created hardship with respect to lot area.
Yeah.
Would all that be close to accurate?
Yes, the depth is the hardship I'm referring to, so that would play into both the front yard setback and the patio setback. So not the lot area as any hardship.
And just to further clarify my understanding and everyone else's of your testimony, though, the C1 you're saying would apply to both front yard setback and patio rear yard setback for both lots, but you're also arguing C2 benefits substantially outweigh the detriments with respect to all 6 deviations, I take it?
Yes, and we look at the application as a whole when we're thinking about the benefits of the project. So we're not necessarily tying those benefits to one of the specific variances, but as the benefits that would accrue from the overall project.
Good segue might be then, with respect to the C2 argument and all 6 variances, are you also, as part of your opinion, under the Kaufman standard, viewing this proposal as a better planning alternative than either what presently exists or what could exist with respect to, I think you said, a 5,000 square foot building on one lot?
Yes, I would think so, both the neighborhood context, the historical context, what the master plan calls for, all of those aspects lead us to a better planning alternative with 2 smaller lots and 2 smaller homes.
And would I be safe in the assumption that your opinion would be that all the conditions stipulated to by and on behalf of the applicant would further mitigate detriments and have a reasonable relationship or nexus to the variance relief sought?
Yes, that's certainly my opinion.
Nothing further.
Any members of the public have any questions? Mr. Millen?
You can't leave yet. You're gonna.
Eamon Manor, 271 Ashland Road. So I see that you have two issues. The benefit is just to remove.
Mr. Millay, if you could just speak into the microphone so the public can hear, sorry.
This way.
Just so the folks at home, in case they're
So
watching.
that you're removing the aspect that this is a professional use. I live across the street, and the house is in good shape. It needs some keep up because it has been there for many years. It is a nice house, well built,
If I
structurally
could,
sound.
Ask whether or not there's a question pending?
There is a
It's a fair question, in my opinion, Madam Chair. You're going to be asking Mr. Barry a question. This is the predicate to get to the question?
Yes.
Okay.
So the question
In
is,
fairness to
is
the applicant, maybe you can get to that question.
is the removal of this aspect that a home office is the problem? Is the negative that you are removing, and is this a benefit? Or I see it as a benefit to have a home office. Nowadays,
Perhaps you wish, can allow him to answer your question.
okay?
So not from a zoning standpoint, the medical office that has existed, that was in operation on the site is non-conforming currently. And so the removal from a zoning standpoint of a non-conforming use does tend to have some benefit. In this context, the office is not being used. It's my understanding, and this is from conversations with the applicant, that there's no particular, they weren't able to find anybody who was interested in it, or doesn't lend itself to a modern doctor's office at this point. So removing the use that's not being used there does have some benefit.
Okay, the other question, wouldn't be, nowadays, everybody wanna work from home. Having a home office, having a home office is an advantage. Everybody's looking to have a home office. I don't see this as a
I'm sorry,
negative.
is your question, isn't that correct, Mr. Barry?
So I believe there's a difference between a home office for someone who is working out of their home in a professional capacity, the way I do myself. I have a room in my house that I use as my office, is different from an office that requires people coming and going all day to be seen by a doctor or another professional. And I don't know that there's really demand for that type of home office today, the way there is for a single professional to work out of their home, like you're describing. Certainly that's in demand. So I would agree in part to what you're saying, but not necessarily in this context.
Okay, in the 1950s, things were different, and haven't they changed? They are very stringent now in the city of Summit. They can't use that feature. The only feature they can use in this house is to have a home office, which is a benefit to the building. And the other question I have, another question I'd like to ask you. What is the very specific issue that is related to this specific lot that prevents the use of this building in compliance with the R15 zone? Is there any?
As I described, the lot is shallower than what the setbacks would typically call for. So if you were going to build a new structure on this lot that would be permitted to be over 5,000 square feet based on the permitted floor area and coverages, the shallowness of the lot creates a hardship for orienting the house. The existing house is non-conforming. It does not meet the current R15 standards. And so it's very, very challenging to develop this lot in any way that would be fully conforming.
How? It is conforming.
No,
It's
it is
fully
not.
conforming.
It is not conforming.
In what way?
The setbacks. The current setback does not meet the required standard.
I don't think that we have heard that during the testimony tonight. I don't think this is a,
In a moment, you're going to be able to make public comment under oath, so
Okay.
perhaps you wish to save that.
okay, so which setback is that?
Front setback.
The front setback?
In 1956, when it was built, when the subdivision was filed, there was a 30-foot setback line required on the map at that time. The current setback that we heard in testimony tonight is required is 38.1 feet.
No.
I mean,
R15?
Sir, we can't technically, and I apologize, but if I may, with the chair's permission, we have to follow, as you may know, the rules for a quasi judicial hearing. You can ask questions and have them answered, but you'll have to give your own comment under oath later. But you can continue to ask relevant questions if you have them of the planner.
Isn't the R15 zone front setback in Summit 15, 35?
no, it's based on, and we heard testimony from the engineer and surveyor earlier. It's calculated based on a neighborhood average. So we look at the lot, we look at 3 lots to one side, 3 lots to the other side, and then the 3 lots across the street, and we average them all together. So the lots across the street, some of them are much deeper than this lot, and they have much greater existing setbacks. And once you average all of those together, that's the number that applies based on the neighborhood average. In this case, that's 38.1 feet.
Okay. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Malay. Okay, any other members of the public? All right. And, what's that?
Oh, I'm sorry, we might have some.
Oh, sure.
And this is for questions of Mr. Barry? No. Comments. Okay, we're
I have a
about to
question
move,
for
we're
Mr.
about
Barry.
to move to that shortly, I
I
think.
have a question for Mr. Barry, just a quick one. You had said something, and I think somebody said over here, there was no interest in the property. Was the property marketed after Dr. Giannis died, before they decided to split it? or
I
during
may
that
have,
time?
I may have overstepped with that statement. It was more a matter of general idea that a home doctor's office is
So then
uncommon.
it's not exactly true
I'm
that
not
there's
sure.
no market for this property as it is right now?
If I could recall,
No.
John Giannis answer that question?
That is fine.
Thank you.
Can you repeat your question, ma'am?
He had said something very briefly about there wasn't any interest, so I'm wondering, how was that established? Was the property ever marketed before you decided to do the lot split?
It
And this is as a home office or doctor's
Or
office with
just
the home?
as somebody who wants to buy it? Yeah.
Right, just for clarification.
No, it was marketed. Interest was very little for Summit. And going back to Mr. Malay's, I want to say his opinion that the house is in good condition, the house is in poor condition. So just going back to that, I mean, the house is not livable. It's basically falling down at this point. So, and going back to the doctor's office, over half the house is a doctor's office at the current
No,
place.
I was just wondering if I wanted to buy it, I'm not a doctor. I could have a knitting store, I guess.
It was on the market for about 6 months.
Okay, that was my question.
Correct, yes, there you go.
Thanks.
Google Maps
Good.
shows the for sale sign.
If all of the people that were looking at it were looking to develop it, no one was looking to move into it.
Okay,
Correct.
I was just wondering.
If that picked up that testimony we just heard from both Mr. Giannis's, so if you have nothing, if there's no further questions for him, if I may, Madam Chair, and you have no further direct for them, in fairness, well, we should see if any members of the public have any questions.
Yeah, this time, any members of the public
On their new
have any
testimony.
questions? Any further questions? Going to ask one more time. Any further questions from members of the public? I think there may be for just for the entire.
No, we're going to get to comment momentarily. This was just the question, just the additional testimony from the gentleman who just
Okay.
spoke, the two gentlemen. So do you have any further, with the chair's permission, any further witnesses?
No further witnesses.
Okay. And I guess we can move to public comment, right? So this time we will take public comment. Sure, Mr. Malay.
And one last time, if you'll give your name and address, please.
My name is Ayman Male. I live at 271 Ashland Road, just across the property.
If we could just ask you to keep your comments to around 3 minutes, Mr. Malay. If you could try to keep your
It will
comment.
be less than 4.
Perfect.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Madam Chair, members of the Planning Board. This application proposes to dismantle a code-compliant property that has functioned as such over 60 years and to replace it with 2 undersized, non-conforming lots that don't meet the minimum requirement of the R15 zone. Summit Master Plan defines R15 zone as an upscale suburban community requiring at least 15,000 square foot lots. This application proposes 2 lots of approximately 11,000 each. That's like 73% of the 73.6 of the required lot. That is way too low. Approving this would effectively rezone the block to an R10 standard, ignoring the intent of the city ordinance and the NJMLUL, Land Use Municipal Law. To grant a variance, the applicant must show a hardship unique to this physical land. There is none here. I don't see any. Just having a home office in the building. This lot is a standard, mostly rectangular parcel that's perfectly usable as currently configured. The need for these variances is a self-created hardship driven by a desire to increase density for profit, which is not a valid legal reason for the board to grant any relief. The character of our neighborhood is defined as secluded homes with ample setbacks and mature trees. We're seeing now 7 mature trees being cut and replacing them with a new canopy will be over so many years. And also, 2 dry wells are not going to do it, because dry wells, we all know, they have a diminishing efficiency with time, and they have a kind of time life. They are not there forever, despite any. So the applicant argues that removing professional office is a public benefit, but it's today work from home environment. A home office is in a very high demand, and it's a high demand feature, not a detriment. The negative criteria of this application, the permanent damage to the streetscape and violation of the master plan, far outweigh any private benefit to the applicant. I urge the board to protect the integrity of our neighborhood and deny this application. Thank you all.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Malay. Are there any further public comments? Questions?
Good evening. My name is Alex Karapetian, and my family and I live
Your address? Oh, sorry.
at 8 Rotary Drive. We are Lot 1, directly adjacent to 201, I believe, right on Rotary. And
Please raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you swear to God or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
And I'd just like to say, for the record, that the applicant, Mr. Giannis, has spoken to the neighbors in question, at least the 4 of us definitely who are on the signed forum that you have, in addition to a few other neighbors in the neighborhood that were able to. We've hosted them at our home with the applicant, who has taken the time to meet with us several times, actually, listen to our concerns. We had very constructive and productive conversations, extremely transparent, and we thought it was very collaborative. We voiced all of our concerns, and they addressed each and every single one of them. We were very satisfied with their response, how it was negatively going to impact especially the four of us who are adjacent to this development, and we were happy with what we came out with together. So I just want to say that for the record.
Thank you very much. Are there any further public comments?
Name and address?
Good evening, Rich Levins. I live with my wife and son, 16 Rotary Drive.
And if you, okay, do you swear to God or affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Do you recall which lot you would be?
34.
Immediately behind?
Correct.
To the rear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to echo everything Alex just said. I was part of those discussions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for your comment. Any other public comments?
Madam Chairman, am I allowed to ask a question from either of the neighbors?
I'm happy to answer that question from a legal perspective, Madam Chair, with your
Go ahead.
permission. The answer is yes.
Can-
They're providing testimony
Okay.
when they comment.
Can either of you tell me how you came to paragraph 5 on the letter, which is the one about lighting? How you guys came to that agreement?
Well, I'm sorry, whoever's answering, I'll have to come back. And of course, you remain under oath.
Sure. Yeah, so you're referencing the paragraph where essentially...
And I'm sorry, for the record, if you could identify again who you are.
Yep, Rich Levin, 16 Rotary Drive.
Thank you.
So you're, just to clarify, you're talking about the paragraph where it talks about the lighting not pointing towards other properties
Right.
or pointing down?
Right, because we heard earlier this evening is that there's not going to be any exterior lighting on the patio. And I don't know if you have a grill, but at some point, you're going to need to have lighting.
I think it was landscape lighting that there wasn't. This is off the house, I think.
Right,
That's
so
correct.
when you guys were thinking through this paragraph 5, were you thinking of the sort of lighting that might be on the, looking down on the patio, or were you thinking about, I know fancy people have tree lighting, were you thinking about those things? I just want to figure out.
No, not so much tree lighting. We were thinking about lighting that would be affixed to the house,
Okay.
pointing towards neighbors' yards, like flood lighting, stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Okay, any other members of the public wish to comment? All right. Mr. Weber, at this time, would you like an opportunity to make a brief summation before the board deliberates?
I would submit the application to the approval of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Weber.
That was brief.
That was brief. And then, Mr. Warner, if you could tightly wrap up with the, regarding the deliberations and the positive and negative criteria that we should be looking
Now
at.
that we've closed all testimony, I'll try my best to list as what I understand to be the relief sought, and please correct me if I'm wrong. The applicant is seeking minor subdivision approval, 1 lot to 2, as well as 6 bulk variances, lot area for 2.01 being 11,078. This is all per the neighborhood average. The 11,078 versus 15,948 square feet minimum. And lot 202, 11,000 square feet lot area versus 15,948 square feet being the neighborhood average lot area minimum. Front yard setbacks of 28.3 for lot 201 and 28.5 for lot 202, whereas the neighborhood average minimum front yard setback is 38.1 feet for each. And the rear yard setback, specifically with respect to the patios in each lot, would be approximately 27 feet versus the minimum required rear yard setback of 35 feet. Those are the 6 bulk variances along with the minor subdivision approval as I understand it. How'd I do, Mr. Burgess and Mr. Weber?
If I can, Mr. Burgess, the front yard setback to the porch is at the 28, to the main portion of the body, it's 33.
Correct. I believe, though, the 28.3 is what counts, but they both
Technically,
count.
it does.
So, but, so be it. Otherwise, I was correct, Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Burgess?
Yes.
Thank you. The conditions of approval, should the board grant, and by the way, the board will decide what the conditions are, but as I understand the stipulated 2 conditions, they're effectively everything in all the reports of all the professionals, with the exception of the solar panel recommendation from the Environmental Commission, as well as what was stipulated to would be the list of conditions as set forth in Exhibit A3, the February 4, 2026 list of conditions that was submitted by the applicant, as well as a few additional conditions of approval that were identified this evening. 1 or 2 of them, frankly, may have been in the aforementioned, but nevertheless, I'd rather have them twice than not at all. Root protection, conferring with the forester, Mr. Linson, I think there was some.
Yes, that is acceptable.
Maybe I should have been a doctor and not a lawyer with this handwriting, but the lower shrubs, oh, that was Mr. Burgess's
That was my suggestion.
comment with respect to lower shrubs on the, but the applicants, the neighbors set forth their respective landscape plan desires. The board will decide what they wish to do with respect to conditions vis-a-vis same, should there be an approval. And I understand that the non-conforming, the pre-existing non-conforming use of a home office / medical office, or at least medical office, would no longer exist should the application be approved, so that would be a condition of approval as well. The attic space is not livable space. I believe I saw that in a list of conditions, but nevertheless, that was clarified and reiterated this evening. And that is all I had for additional conditions, but applicant's counsel is going to be kind enough to stipulate to, or let me know one or more that his client stipulated to that I left out.
The sidewalk would be subject to the review by the city engineer,
Right.
and the street trees would be relocated to accommodate the sidewalk.
Thank you.
And finally, the one that we missed was the pipe being the rear yard.
To the extent that the dry wells will not function, that the alternative, subject to the city engineer, would
City
tie
engineer,
into the
Yep.
12-inch reinforced concrete pipe.
Okay.
Is that all we have?
I think so. So with that, you have the board has the relief, reiteration of what the relief sought is and confirmation of it, as well as all the conditions as stipulated to by or on behalf of the applicant. Now's the hard part. This is where you deliberate and make your determination. We have 7 board members qualified to vote this evening, 6 seated to my left, 1 seated to my not immediate right, but 1 over. And you will deliberate and you will decide. It is, with everything we do as a planning board, majority for approval. 4 out of 7.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. So, board members, please limit your deliberations, it's late, to the statutory criteria for these variances and the subdivision impacts provided and discussed in testimony. Would anybody like to comment, ask questions? Nothing? Nothing? Okay.
Does anybody wish to make a motion and explain why?
Okay, so
If I could.
Yep.
I would like to just bring up the fact that removal of the pre-existing non-conforming use, I see it as a benefit. I also recognize that while it may not be in conformance with the properties on the opposite side of the street, concurrently on their side, the even numbered side of the street, the lot sizes are similar. They did take reasonable consideration into the design of the area and what is similarly seen around the neighborhood. And I think that the lot is constrained by depth, as was provided in testimony. I don't see that there is a significant enough reason to deny this application unless someone thinks otherwise.
Thank you, Augusto. And I would say that I really give a lot of credit to Mr. Weber and the folks there for working with the community. It's important, especially as you drive around that area. It does seem, in my opinion, if I were to provide some guidance, it does seem like getting that lot back to what it was originally makes a lot more sense than putting a really large house that probably is going to potentially could, maybe not fit within the community. So I think this kind of gets it back to the area where it was, and I think it would be certainly appropriate, and I would certainly move to approve this subdivision application. So with that being said, does anybody else have anything that they would like to say? If not,
I just have one comment. I agree with both the comments so far, but also just wanted to thank the applicant and the witnesses that brought forth the material, specifically laying out the architectural plans of what they're going to do and bringing these renderings with the split and the two dwellings. In the past, we've seen applications come forth and they just kind of gives a postage stamp but nothing on it, and then we're left to try to imagine what's going to be on it. So I just wanted to add that. We'd like to see that going forward, but otherwise I'm in support of it.
and I would just say that last year on city council, or maybe it was the year before that, there was a big push from the residents over there to get the sidewalks, and it's a really great community to walk to elementary schools, and so I think it's going to be a nice add to the community if the board decides to approve this application. So.
I would also like to add one more point, given that if the property were to be subdivided and 2 new dwelling units were to be placed there, that the applicant take special consideration to any residential development fees that may have to be paid preliminarily and prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. That's important.
Thank you, Augusto.
And that's a standard condition in all
Yes.
our resolutions.
Okay. So do we take any-
I don't know if we got a motion. I don't know if we formally got a second.
Right.
Second.
Vice Chair Hamlet?
Yes.
Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Mr. Felmet?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
members of the
everyone.
board.
It's going to be
Okay, yep.
We have the minutes from September 9th, 2025 for memorialization. Oh, September 29th, sorry. September 29th, 2025. The eligible voting members are Vice Chair Hamlet, Ms. Bowen, Mr. Dalmasso, and Mr. Stern. Could we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And a fair number of abstentions, but you'll take care of that.
Okay.
I believe we need a motion to adjourn.
Yes. I would like to make, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for drive safe.